Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, a little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And yes, I am back here. It's Monday. I know some of you say, wait a minute, Larry, I missed you. I didn't have you on Sunday. True. You do not have me on Sunday, but you do have me today, which is, I guess, pretty good-ish. Yeah? Yes, I agreed. Yes, I guess that works, if that makes any sense. We are together today, so I'm very happy that we are together today. And if you do like what I'm saying, please click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Please do that. You know it does matter. If you're going to repost this, please repost this. It should be pretty cool. I do like the idea of you reposting if you would. And of course, follow me if you would on both Sharpeway and Sharpeway YouTube, also on Rumble, Facebook, and CiVL too. Follow me on all the things. I hope that you can we can enjoy this time together. Why did I do this show tonight? Well, I'm going to blame Patty. So if you guys don't like this show, it's Patty's fault. That's it. See, I'm blaming her easily as I take no accountability whatsoever for my actions. I just blame somebody else. And there we go. So yes, I've just basically blamed Patty if this is a good show. She talked about the idea of people struggling to get jobs. And it's the youth and older and everything in between. And I've got a bunch of stuff here I want to talk about. And the first one I want to bring up is something that's kind of interesting. I went through and I found some things that I thought were interesting. This is actually a guy named Michael Bordenaro. He talks a lot about, usually talks about real estate. He talks a lot of other stuff too. And he brings up this issue, which I think is very interesting. A few seconds of what he's talking about, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Let me grab him.
Recently on the channel is how about 25% of the U.S. population is effectively unemployed. And what that means is they either don't make enough money and they actually do work, but they're pretty much living in a poverty situation.
Now, I brought this up many times before. People who are actually, three things. One, people who are actually unemployed. That's option one. Option two, people who are underemployed. And boy, is that a whole lot of people. Meaning people have like master's degrees, PhDs, they're qualified for so much, but they're still working like retail or minimum wage jobs, things like that. They're underemployed. And then lastly, those who just given up. I told you about 7 million men just given up. When you look at that, unemployment is not 4%. It's more like 25%. So it's really bad out there. And I've been bringing this up for a long time. This is like this week he brought this up.
Or they've been out of work for so long that they've given up looking for work and they're no longer counted as unemployed in the unemployment system. And that 25% effective unemployment rate in the United States is pretty scary considering we're supposed to have the greatest economy ever right now.
Correct.
But do you know who is actually unemployed right now and who?
Do you know who's actually unemployed right now?
Who is the most unemployable? Turns out it is college graduates.
Bingo! I've been telling you this for years. I've been talking this trash since 2017. If you don't have a plan, stop going to college. College is absolute garbage. It's terrible. It's a bunch of money and gives you nothing. It is useless unless you have a specific plan. If you go on, I'm going to go to college to find myself is stupid. Don't do that. Don't tell your kids to do that. Don't do it if it's you. It is harmful. It's not neutral. It's harmful. It is not what it was. I know people will say, oh, Larry, you understand, going to college gets you these great jobs. Yeah, 50 years ago, not today.
That's right. That old lie of you need to go to school, you need to get a degree, or you'll never be able to get a job. You'll never be able to make enough money to support yourself. Well, it turns out that was all a lie. Because the people who actually did that are the ones who are having a harder time finding a job than anybody. It turns out young people who are graduating from college right now are facing one of the toughest job markets in decades.
Clear, 100% true.
The unemployment rate for degree holders between the age of 22 and 27 years old has reached its highest level in a dozen years.
Yes, absolutely. Mastermind right there. I double majored in computer science and graphic design, so I was one of the first victims of AI. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yes. JG says, since I didn't complete my college degree, I'm employable. I'm in IT. Yes. There we go. He goes on to say, I'm working for a school district. I'll be very clear on this. Government have figured this out. If you've noticed, states right now are literally ending their requirement for college degrees. They're ending them because this matter and people don't have them and they need people to work and they're like, we don't care. It's not working. They're even saying no for it. Yes, government's becoming the only place to work.
If you exclude the pandemic, joblessness among that group is now higher than the overall unemployment rate, and the gap is larger than it has been. And
so you are more likely to be unemployed if you're a young college graduate now. What did your counsel tell you? What lie did your guidance counselor tell you? Yeah. And you're probably at least $40,000 in debt, if not $100,000 in debt, depending on where you went. For what? For nothing. For nothing. And here's the worst part, which I always bring up. Add on top of this, we're not pair bonding. Larry, why does that matter? Because if there's two of you in a household who support each other, who hopefully love each other, if that's true, then you can support each other when one of you gets laid off or one of you gets into a bad spot, or if one of you has to go back to, do an internship or whatever, right? There's someone there to back you up, someone to help you pay those bills, someone to help you say, you're not horrible, you're not bad, it's time, whatever the case may be. So not only are we not getting jobs, but on top of it, we're not pair bonding.
More than 3 decades. So it turns out going to college and getting a degree is the surefire way not to get a job these days. Now, right now, we're in a situation in an economy where a lot of businesses are holding off on hiring new workers because of all the uncertainty surrounding the tariff policies and where that's going to go. Also surrounding interest rate policies.
Also scary.
And then, of course, we have the advent.
Yes, look, the tariff policies, because they aren't clear for most people, by default makes people afraid. That's true, right? If they're not crystal clear, people get afraid, right? Interest rates. It's not clear where that's going. People get afraid. That's true. When that begins to happen, people get afraid, companies get afraid, and when people are afraid, they slow down hiring. That's accurate. It's accurate. Now, we hope this will, I hope it will shake itself out, but right now, there's a lot of fear. He's right.
Of AI and its rapid progression that is just taking away many of these entry-level jobs that a lot of these college students would have gotten prior to now. I mean, put yourself in the shoes of any head honcho of any company. When you're going to be looking at hiring somebody, especially.
Yeah, Becky Lee says, but why? Why do college grads have trouble? I'm going to show you. I've got 3 short vids I'm going to show you today. A little bit of him, a little bit of a couple others. I'm going to show you why. Most of these people, Becky, are unhireable. They're unhireable. And it sounds horrible. And the sad part is because of government, surprise, Larry Sharpe blames government. Because of government, they'll never know. Because you can't tell them. Because there's lawsuits. So yes, the lawsuits, the way the government is, makes everything worse. Everything worse. Yes. And school is saying, don't use AI. Don't use AI. I know my daughter's in school. Don't use it. It's bad. Just use it for this, use it for that. That's just one question. Is school supposed to teach you stuff or supposed to teach you stuff so you can get a job? Well, college, in theory, should teach you to get a job, right? What are you going to do in your job? AI. Why are you not using AI every day in college? Why? Because AI is going to replace teachers. That's why. That's why. College, again, showing how useless it is. You should be using AI always. My lady says, I heard a news station today that people coming out of college and embracing AI will be able to get employment. I just introduced my AR avatar influencer to help in guerrilla marketing with my business. Embrace AI or get left in the dust. True. And people, but AI is bad. AI is scary. It is. However, AI is, when it comes to the world, a weapon system. That's it. A weapon system. Ira's like, don't go to college. You will leave you in so much debt. True. I've been saying this for years and people still keep doing it. Yes, I've been saying it for years. Yes. Kintsugi, how are you? Pair bonding, huh? The downfalls of being single. True. Look, there's advantage of being single too. I mean, you get freedom, a lot of cool stuff being single. I'm not saying you shouldn't be single. People should be single when they want to be single. No judgment on that. But here's what I know. If you are pair bonding, you find the right person, life can be better. Most people would rather pair bond. Most would. She goes on to say, my mom was able to go to school because my dad picked up the slack. It helps. True. Absolutely. Pair bonding does help. It does. So
when times are tough, like right now, and when economic conditions are uncertain, who are you going to be least likely to hire? Well, of course, it's going to be the college graduate that doesn't have any work experience. And maybe you don't even need to fill that position anymore thanks to AI. And we're not talking about people that went to school and got foolish degrees of like, liberal arts degrees or something ridiculous like that. We're talking about people that have got degrees in science and in
Now I bring that up because the next piece I want to bring up here. Now he talks about that. He's a random guy. He brought it up this week, but there's another one. This is now examples of people. There's literally a half hour. I'm not gonna give you a half hour, but there's a half hour of this. This is just people literally on TikTok complaining about not being able to get a job. And of course it's TikTok, because what else would it be besides TikTok? Of course it's TikTok, but here we go.
How am I supposed to get a job in this economy?
I have a master's degree in economics from a top 30 university.
And I can't get a fucking job.
Month 8 of being
here's the problem that these women aren't getting. And this is men too, but this part, TikTok's heavily women. Stop putting all your shit online. Because the second that you come in and I think I may want to hire you, I'm going to check all your social media. And when I see all this, I don't want to hire you. Now, I can't tell you that because in most states, New York and California are the worst. Some of you may not know this. If I don't hire you and you sue me, there's no such thing as innocent until proven guilty in employment law. In employment law, I, as the employer, have to prove that I didn't discriminate. I'm not joking. If you sue me in employment law, the assumption is I'm a bigot. That's the assumption. So I have to prove I didn't. So how do I do that? I give you extremely long hiring processes where I can find something to say, this was it. That's why you spend so much time getting hired and you don't get hired, because the second they bring you into the system, you can sue them. That's the problem. They don't want that. I get it. I understand that completely. And of course, it makes it worse for everybody. But anyway, let me keep going here.
unemployed.
No one can find even entry-level roles.
Yeah, if you're searching for jobs on Indeed in 2025, I'm just going to let you know right now, you're fucking cooked, bud, because spent about 30 minutes on there and not looking too hot. Like, I know the job market's bad. I know Indeed's full of, like, shitty fake listings, but wow, like, it's even worse than I thought. It's even worse than I thought. I feel like the best job I saw on there was, like, crash test dummy, like $20 an hour. So, yeah, if you think Indeed.
And the problem is we've been told that we have to go to school and that a job is waiting for you. For those of you who don't know, I used to teach at the graduate level here or there, right, at Columbia and Yale. And I would tell people when they're in my class, I would say, okay, what else are you doing? And they said, what do you mean? What else are you doing? Well, no, I'm in school. No, I know you're in school, but what else are you doing? Well, I'm studying. That's bullshit. You in trouble. You in trouble. You got to go do something. This was 10 years ago. I was telling you this 10 years ago. You go to school, then get out and hope a job there, you're screwed. You need to be getting a job while you're in college. And the problem is you find people go, I'm not working for somebody for nothing. Okay, don't. You ain't gonna have a job then.
is going to be the answer to your problems or finding a better job, I'd think again.
I'm going on month 8 of being unemployed, and this job market is absolutely terrible. If you were thinking about quitting your job because you're unhappy, just don't. Just try to thug it out for a little bit longer because it is ghetto out here. I went through a whole job interview process.
What's funny is TikTok people all sound the same. I went through a whole They're that same TikTok voice, don't they? I don't know.
I'm talking 4 interviews, going on site, meeting the whole team, prepping for my interviews with the recruiter, the whole 9 yards, only to find out that I, in fact, did not get the job because allegedly they had another candidate that they were going with after all of that. Only to find out and go back on LinkedIn maybe 20 minutes after the email to see that the job was reposted again. To say that.
Now, the issue is I'm tell you what happened. They didn't want her. And this is going to sound terrible, but I'm going to tell you the truth so you understand this. Because she's a black woman, they were afraid. They had to walk her down a road and find documentation as to why they didn't want her, or she could sue them and they'd be screwed. That's why. If this was 50 years ago and they didn't want her for a reason, they'd have been like, no, thanks, we don't want you, have a nice day. But they can't do that now. She'll sue them and they'll lose. So they have to walk you down this long thing so they can document why they didn't pick you. Otherwise, they get sued. Their lawyers at HR have told them this. I'm not making this up. If you work in this field, you know I'm right.
That I've been an emotional wreck internally is probably an understatement. I am just trying to take it day by day.
I majored in mass communications.
Jesus, and she's got a kid too. That's terrible. Here.
Did a double concentration in advertising and public relations. And then I also did a double minor in journalism and art history. Graduated with a 3.7.
Okay, I'll be very clear. This woman's unemployable. Why? Larry, she's qualified. No, she's full of herself. I don't want to work with her. I don't mean to be mean. I did this. Nobody cares. And if you're not looking for a job, if you're looking for a job and you're going to say, I got this, I did that, you're unhireable. This right now is a market for the employers, not for the employees. There was a time when it was all about employees. It's not now. Those days are over. That was like 2020 lockdown times. Those days are over. And people are accustomed to that. They're accustomed to, 2020, they were hiring everybody and letting them work at home and giving them big dollars. True. Those days are over. And I'm being very forward. I don't mean to be mean, but if you know someone looking for work or you are looking for work, nobody cares about all your credentials. They don't. They care about one thing only. What can you do for the company? Well, Larry, that's mean. Larry, that's cruel. Larry, that's capitalism. Okay. All right. I'm not mad at you. Okay. That's the world we're in. Companies are not evil. I say this all the time. And when you act like they're evil, you're going to pay a price for that. They're not. They're apathetic. They just don't care either way. People go, they always want to cheat you. No, they don't. No, they don't. If they see value, they will pay lots of money. If they don't see value, they won't. And we've been taught since school that value is, I got a degree. No one gives a shit about your degree. I've been telling you this for 8 years. I've done lots of hiring and firing. I don't care about your stupid degree. It means nothing to me. Have you done something? Are you a good person? Will you work with my team? Are you a walking lawsuit? That's what I care about. This woman is a walking lawsuit. I don't want to hire her. I know it sounds horrible. I'm just being honest.
I have been applying to upwards of 2 or 3 jobs a day since May. And it's the middle of July, and I've heard either nothing at all or rejection letters. Literally, that's it.
This is why I tell you guys, when you're looking for work, do not do this. You should not apply en masse for any jobs. At least half of these jobs are BS jobs. That's the reality of, again, it sucks. I know, but it's true. At least half of them are BS jobs. Not just that. A lot of them are just farming for your info and they're going to sell it. Yes, they take your info and they sell it. I know that's horrible. I know it is. And true. Only apply to specific jobs that you want. And nobody's going to tell me, Larry, I need a job. And be very forward again with you. I'm going to be clear on this. Except for you and those who love you, nobody cares. And that sounds horrible. I know. But I want you to understand where you or your loved one is in this world. Don't be these TikTok people. They think somehow righteousness is going to come save you. It's not. It's not. I'm telling you, it's not. You're going to find a bunch of people getting, and I told you last year when AI was hitting, what did I tell you? I said it's going to hit women more than men. Men are getting hit too, but not as much. Why? Because a lot of men already checked out. They don't affect them. They already checked out. 7 million already gone. AI doesn't affect them. They weren't working anyway. So they don't care. Doesn't matter at all. And on top of it, a whole bunch of men are in the trades, and the trades are not being hammered anywhere near the non-trades. So this AI smash is going to hit women more than men. It already is. You see it everywhere. And how they're going to handle it. Here's the second part. This is where DEI crushed women. And I know some of you are going to be upset, but I want you to hear this. It matters. What DEI did was create a quota system. That's what it created. Now, again, I'm not against diversity at all. I think diversity is wonderful. I do. I'm not making that up. I'm not, I don't have to kiss anybody's ass. I do think diversity is wonderful. I think quotas are terrible. You can get a more diverse thought process by how you decide to hire people, the places you hunt, those types of things, but not by quotas. Quotas always ended badly. Every time. Quotas are terrible. Never have quotas. Quotas, what does that mean? Quotas all of a sudden means that now people were grabbing women from other places, particularly in tech, heavily in tech, but also finance, but heavily tech, and giving them extra cash to come to work for them to fill their quota. Now, these women weren't bad. To be clear, the women were just as talented as the men. But the problem is they were getting paid more. Why? Because, all right, if you're sitting in some job making whatever, 60K a year, and you're worth 60K, so is the guy next to you. Well, I want to pull you over because you fill my quota. Well, why would you leave a job? I got to pay you now 75. So I pay you 75, but you're just as good as the man. But you get 75. Why? You fill a quota. So you come to me. Well, some other company goes, well, I want her. She's good. She's good as a man. That's great. She's wonderful. But she fills my quota. The man doesn't. I need her. Come to me. And she goes, well, why would I leave you? I'm making 75. I'm making 15 grand more than my male counterpart already. I'll pay 85. Damn. 85 comes over. Now she's making 85K when she's worked the same as the other, making 60K. Well, now layoffs come. Who am I going to get rid of? The one who for 85K. Because they're the same. No shade to the woman. It's not her fault. I'd have done it too. Like, if you're going to give me another 15 grand a year to do the same job, of course you take it. Who wouldn't? Of course you would. It isn't the woman's fault. This is the system that screwed her up. And now women like her and many others who are accustomed to a lifestyle of making more than a male counterpart, they can't anymore. Now they've got to all of a sudden peel back. But wait a minute. I've set my life up for this, whatever, 85K job. That should only be 60. Now what do you do? What happens when it was 100K when it should have been 60? Your whole lifestyle shot. This is not going to go well for so many people. All right, I got a couple of people I want to. Oh, guys, thank you so much for the Sharpe memberships, guys. Yes, thank you, Phil, gifting a Sharpe membership. I appreciate it, guys. Remember, grab the membership. If you made $20 million last year, you may not get this membership. Under $20 million, you may. $20 million, you may take this membership. If you like, please feel free grabbing it. Ryan, thank you so much for a membership. Yes, Sharpe membership. Thank you so much. Andrea, you guys are killing it tonight. Keep coming and keep coming. I appreciate it. And Kinsugi is gifting and joining. More and more members coming aboard. I appreciate that tremendously, right? Every time you guys pop this up, other people see it. We start seeing things rock and roll. I appreciate it tremendously. Duke of X coming in with $10 for Super Chat. Thank you. Thomas Sowell told William F. Buckley in the 70s interview that employers employ mediocre whites because they want to deal with EEOC if the black candidate didn't work out. Yeah, that was happening back then. Yes. And that's why they hired so many white women. I'm not joking. That's true. Do your homework there. I'm making it up. Because women check the box. Oh, but let's do white women because it wasn't as bad. That was, they again, companies, they're not evil. They just don't care. They do what makes the most sense for the business. If you understand that, you've got a chance of taking advantage of it. You're totally correct, Vex. Thank you for $10, my friend. Joel, thank you for the gift of membership, guys. Thank you so much. All these members popping on. I appreciate it tremendously. I do, I know you guys are doing memberships. I appreciate it. Some of you know that I am an ambassador at Freedom Fest. I just came back last month from going out to Palm Springs. Freedom Fest is every year, usually in June or July. Most of the time it's in Vegas, but it's sometimes rock mixes and matches. Why do I bring this up? Okay, here is the reason why I'm bringing it up. I'm bringing it up because if you join CiVL, you know what happens? You may not know this, but if you join CiVL, you actually get a special pass to Freedom Fest. This is last year's Freedom Fest right here. Special pass here. You get to see Spike Cohen and Daryl Davis. Where do you get to see that besides CiVL?
Hi, folks. How's everyone doing? That was good. That was a good first try. How's everyone doing? That's what I'm talking about.
Spike killing it with Daryl Davis, literally called the Clan Whisperer. This guy literally takes people at clan members
civil
and turns them.
These are the
Civil
kinds
dialogue.
of people that prompted me to get into this.
This is what CiVL's about. You get a digital pass to Freedom Fest. You get to see what's happened. This is some of the best conversations you were going to find. Mark Meckler, he's talking about things like, how do we change the government around, right? How do you make that happen? This is what he's talking about here. This is amazing what CiVL's doing with this. And it's not just 2025. If you look at 2025, we have others too, right? Look here, Brett Weinstein. You're right. I mean, this is what you get here on CiVL. Guys, if you want this to work and you want this to work well, then support CiVL. You see, I'm on the network too. You see, I'm on the Wednesday show, right? Absolutely. Wednesday show is just on CiVL. You see, CiVL is trying to, quote, upgrade civilization with conversations like this. You want to be savvy. You want to figure things out. You want to get a hold of Freedom Fest. Come on. This is only here. It's literally the Freedom Fest collection from this year and years before. Jump on board. It does matter. Please help out. When you do it, here's what I want you to do. I would like you to, when you have a second, head over to CiVL, CiVL.com, CiVL, CiVL.com. Join up. When you join up, put your name in. Upper right-hand corner, you click the green part. That green part, you put in the name Larry, Larry, all caps. That's my name. Do that. You get 50% off. You get the Wednesday show, which is coming here at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, which is always about us growing, which is always about us getting better, which is always about us being happier. That's what the show is all about. It's about upgrading civilization. That's what it's about. And you get access to all the other things I talked about. Last week, I gave you more things. This time, I'm showing you Freedom Fest. Come on. Win, win, win. When you have a moment, head on over there. Check out CiVL. And you get the Wednesday show, too. This is not a bad deal, guys. Not a bad deal at all. All right. Let me head back. I have a couple more I do want to show you, if I may. We're not done. We are not done. Oops. Did I screw that up? I just screwed that up. I thought we were done. I messed that up. That's me because I don't know what I'm doing sometimes, but that's okay. It seems like I don't, but I do.
Now, to be fair, I didn't intern anywhere, but I have been doing social media.
I didn't intern anywhere, but I've been doing social media. She just said that. So I didn't do any work. I just went to school and I expect stuff to happen.
Part-time for 2 years. I have all the practical experience I would ever need to do pretty much any job in social media. If anything, I got more experience doing this than I would have at an internship because.
So she got more experience doing her own social media. That's what she just said. So if I'm an employer and I look at you and I see all the social media you do for yourself, why would I want to hire you? You're going to take my money and promote yourself. They don't get it. They think, look, I'm a social media person. I'm showing you how good I am at social media. No, the employer's going, if you're not in the office, you're going to be doing your own social media and I'm paying you for that. Then you're going to get popular and leave me. Why the hell would I pay you? None of them get this. Do you think an employer isn't thinking this? I am.
This is now like profitable for me. And it's now like
it's profitable for me. So why would I hire you?
A part-time income. I have all the skills from content creation and strategy.
Then just build your own business. Why are you trying to get a job? I'm not joking. This is, if I was going to have an interview, I'd ask that question. I would have it. I'd say, okay, great. I see you have this, whatever, TikTok or whatever, Instagram, whatever she has. Seems like you're making money. She would, of course, because she's full of pride. I'm so proud. I'm so awesome. I'm making money. I would ask her, why do you want a job? And of course, she'll say, you don't need extra money for so-and-so. I don't want to hire you for that. I don't want to hire you so you can become a TikToker. That's what's happening here.
SEO, copywriting, content creation, including video and photo editing.
So you want to be a TikToker. Be a TikToker then.
Influencer relations.
Influencer relations. So you're an influencer now. Well, then why would I hire you?
Contract negotiation, like literally any skill you need, I have. And this is not.
She's not prideful at all. Any skill you need, I have. If I see this online, she is unhireable. What she thinks she's the greatest thing in the world. So when she comes in, is she going to be a team player? No. Is she going to worry about our goal? No. Is she going to take direction from her manager? No. She knows better than the manager. She just told us that. She just told us that. When she's not specifically being told what to do, will she be working on my social media or her own? Her own. Now, here's the worst part. No one can tell her that, because if I told her that, she would sue me and she would win. I hope she's watching this video and will learn first, take all this shit down from your social media, stop showing off like you're so awesome, and go get a job then. Or stop looking for work and just do this.
Not me being like, I'm the smartest, I'm the best. This is not me saying that at all.
It's literally you saying that. It's literally you saying that.
What I'm saying is I find it ridiculous that all of these people are applying to jobs.
Yeah.
And no one's getting hired. And yet everyone is also saying nobody wants to work. That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
It's not.
Should not be this hard for a college grad to find a job.
That's true. She's right. It should not be that hard. That's accurate. So something she said was absolutely true. Another gift of membership. Thank you, Johnson. I appreciate it. Rick, thank you for the 6 months. Finally, my membership badge is LP Gold. You're now special, my friend. Yes, you are. LP Gold, you are indeed special. Thank you. All right.
3 weeks ago, I applied as a car wash attendant for this local car wash nearby. I had my second interview with them. $50 an hour job. I had my second interview with them, like earlier on this week. They told me it went great. I'll hear from them shortly. So I let 2 days go by. I emailed this woman. Okay, she gets back to me relatively quick. She says, "Hey, Silver, your interview went amazing!" Exclamation point. Yep. Our hiring managers are currently out of the office until around sometime later next week. So we'll probably have some updates around then after we check your references. I have a master's degree in economics from a top 30 university.
Nobody gives a shit. You are unhireable. This one's unhireable. Because when she went on an interview for the car wash, she's like, I have all these things. They were like, I don't want, you're going to work here for 3 months till you find a job and leave, or you're going to hate working here, or you're going to be terrible to all our customers because you think you're better than them all. You're going to be a terror to work with. You are literally a walking lawsuit. Looking at her, you are a walking lawsuit. That's what she is. Why would you hire her? What are you talking about? Why would you hire her? Mike says, Series 7 is a stockbroker. True. She isn't making money in this market. Degree is meaningless as a broker. It's all people skills. 100% true, Mike. You and I both know. We both been in that world. The guys and the gals, usually guys, but there's some gals too, making the big cash. It's not about their education. It's totally about people's skills. You are totally correct. It doesn't matter. And she has none. She's self-righteous. I don't want to be around her. Of course not. Why would you do that? Right? Ginger says, I got hired for a grocery store bookkeeper for a month. Then I got the offer of my current job. There we go. Because JG, obviously you're someone people want to talk to. Yes, you're someone people want to talk to. Yes, absolutely. Kim says, so she has stuff like this on her social media for all to see. Does she think potential employers aren't going to check her social media? She thinks that she's showing how awesome she is, Kim. I'm not joking. She thinks I'm showing how awesome I am, so they're going to want to grab me. No. Becky says, Detour, when can we hold educational institutions responsible for grads not finding jobs? That was my entire plan, Becky. The way you do this is very simple. You stop the government from giving all this money out. The government gives money out so the colleges don't care. Why would they? They're getting paid no matter what. They don't care. Instead, you treat the colleges just like car companies. I'm not joking. Car companies, if you go to buy a Honda, Ford, whatever you go buy a car, the car company has a finance company in it, and it finances its own car. Well, if the car doesn't work or is broken, well, they give you a bad car, you need the car back, you lose money, right? They make sure they give the car to people who they can pay, right? Absolutely, right? Got that. They check your finances, all kind of good deal. Well, now you make the colleges finance their own degrees. If they finance their own degrees and you can't find a job, they don't get paid. That's how they pay the price. You let the market do it. You get the government out of it. The government makes this worse. I know, libertarian, government makes it worse again. Yes, the government makes it worse again. But not just that. Why did we push all these people into college? Because the government is making money off of the loans. Over 90% now of all the loans given out are directly from the government. They're making money off this. So the government gets paid off this because you can't discharge this in bankruptcy. So they're getting the money. So of course they push you into college because they get paid. If you don't get a job, too bad. You'll just keep paying until you drop dead because you're paying forever. I know guys in their 50s who still have college debt. In their 50s who still have college debt. Yes, that's how bad it is. This is embarrassing. It is the government's fault. The government's trying to makes rules to protect the employees. That's what they're doing. Protect them. What does it do? You saw earlier. Now they pick and choose who they hire. Now they put people like this through the ringer because they have to find a way to tell them no without getting sued. So these women get their hearts destroyed. They get broken up badly because you've got to make sure you don't get sued. Why did they use AI? Using AI and programs means that they didn't choose. It proves automatically that they're not going to get sued. That's why they use it. But I go one step further. Where did most people get their jobs when they were younger? JG showed you a local grocery store. Well, governments made sure that the small business is destroyed. So everything is a big business now. They don't care about you. Yeah, they don't care.
I have a Series 7 certification in finance.
Nobody cares.
And they are holding me up for $15 an hour. Like, I'm actually about to...
No, they're not. They checked your social media. You're a terrible employee.
Explode.
College does not get you a job, and it's not meant to. College makes you eligible to compete for a job,
Well, that's not 100% true, but at least she gets it, right? College, she's right. But the problem is they've been telling you a lie for decades. That's the problem.
career. It is up to you to compete, and your performance will result in what you get. I made a video about how I went from a...
Okay, Becky says, why doesn't she get a job as an insurance agent then? Derp, derp. Here's the reason why. Because Mike is right. If you want to be an insurance agent or a stockbroker, you can't be a terrible person like her. You can't be a self-centered person. You've got to be a people person so that you can actually get together with people and get them to buy your product. She doesn't have that skill set. That's why she can't get hired in a customer service place, because she's all about herself. She is pissed off. She is bitter. You can see it in her. She is and getting bitterer. Is that a word? More bitter, bitterer, whatever she is. She's getting even more. Yes, absolutely. That's why she doesn't do it, Becky. You're right. Peace over on Rumble. Thank you for the $1. Sending out some love on business vacation. Returning to DC next week. Peace, I owe you so much. I have been overwhelmed with stuff. I have an excuse. I'll tell you about it when I talk to you. I'll reach out to you this week. We'll catch up. I'm way behind, but I owe you a lot. So yes. JJ says, it seems like Black women have a specific tone or way of talking that grinds my gears. Larry, do you know what I'm talking about? There's an issue here, and I'm going to try to be fair to my sisters. Black women have had it bad for a long time. It's true. I'm not trying to victim. I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you the truth. Black women have had it bad for a long time, my friend. And some of them are really at the end. And I get it, right? I get it. There are a lot of Black women are kind of at the end. They've been through a lot. They've taken it on the chin a lot more than other groups of people. They get hammered when it comes to marriage. They get hammered when it comes to jobs. And you see so many of them get stuck going into government work. Look at government work filled with Black women. Filled Black women. Why? People don't want to hire them. Yes, everything you're saying is it's true. There's a lot of problems that women Black women are having. And a lot of them are really upset. They feel like they've been busting their rump. In many cases, supporting families. In many cases, supporting children. They've done a whole lot, and they feel like the world has turned their back on them. And in many ways, they're not wrong. So I get what you're saying, and some people don't like it. I agree with you. You're not alone. I'm trying to explain that maybe they have some reasons. That's all I'm saying. Maybe they have some reasons. I hope that's clear at least. So, yeah, just saying that. So, any case, let me keep going.
Household that was living below the poverty line to making $125K at 22 right out of undergrad. I got so many comments like this that are like, school is a scam. You're lying to people.
School is a scam. That's true. Yes. Kintsugi said, that's an interesting observation. I see a lot of Black women in government jobs. Yep. I didn't know it was a negative thing. It is a negative thing. And let me explain why it is. Sadly, the way the world looks right now, most people in the private sector, unless you're a very large company who's desperate for people, you look for reasons to not hire. I know, I've done it. You're looking for reasons to say no, right? You want to make sure you get the right hire. A poor hire costs the company a lot of money, right? Training, all that stuff. You want to get the best hire possible. In the government, it doesn't matter. Like, the money is irrelevant. It's just taxpayer money. It just goes out no matter what. It's getting spent no matter what. You don't care. You're filling a quota, check in a box. I don't mean to be mean, but it's true. Government workers are looking for reasons to hire you. So when so many Black women do get pushed out of the private sector, they have two options. And here's the two things you see. Kintsugi, one, Black women entrepreneurs. So many. More by percentage than any other demographic. Black women, by percentage, have the highest amount of people who are becoming entrepreneurs. That's been true for years. That isn't just like this year. It's been true for years. Highest number of entrepreneurs, right? Because they get often shunned in the private sector. It's true what JJ's saying. I know it sounds terrible. I'm not validating these things. I'm expressing what reality is. So they have two choices. Go to government, who will hire anyone, or go into entrepreneurship. And a lot of people don't want to be entrepreneurs. So what do? You'll work for government. I know it's not great, but I'm just being true, right? I'm trying to be honest here. Oh, excuse me. All right. Is this working now? Did I miss it?
School doesn't work, etc. Now, given the fact that we are in a very tough economy right now,
True.
Obviously that is different. I'm talking about people who have graduated 3 years ago in 0% interest rate economies that are commenting these things. There is a big misunderstanding within the Black community, within the first gen community, that college gets you the career. No, correct. College makes you eligible for the career. Think about your career.
Yeah. Becky says, Becky says, aren't Black women the most educated demographic? True. Yes. Also true. And this is another problem. Okay. When you get heavily educated, who cares about that? Only government. Only government. If you're in a small business, and I'm be very forward with you, again, I'm trying to let you know how this actually works in the real world. People won't tell you this. I'm going to. You show up and you got 2 master's degrees. I go, well, that was a waste of money. That's what I think. That was a waste of money. Well, you didn't want to work. That's what I started thinking. I don't want to hire you for 2 master's degrees. That's a waste of time and money. What were you thinking? Now, government goes, oh, wonderful. We'll pay you more. I'm not joking, because remember, government is checking boxes, right? Government's checking boxes. So extra degrees actually get you extra money in government. So if you're a Black woman who has a bachelor's degree and 2 master's degree, why would you come work for me? I don't care about your degrees at all. I'm not going to pay you any more for it. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Government goes, oh, more degrees, more money. Of course you'll go there, right? People react to the system. Black women aren't any smarter, not smarter, better, worse. They're just human beings like all the rest of us. And then they see this and go, oh, I can go work for government and get more cash. I'll go do that. Done and done. So yes, done and done. All good. All righty.
As an arena. College makes you eligible to enter the arena. You still have to run the race. It is up to you to eat right, to practice, to stretch, to do the
She's not
right
wrong on these things.
to make sure you outperform during that race. There are so many of you that enter the arena and sit on the bleachers. You think that that's the competition. Some of you don't even know that there's a race happening that you're supposed to be in. So what does it look like to compete? It looks like volunteering, engaging in leadership positions, applying for that internship, the externship, the insight programs, raising your hands for awards, emailing your local newspaper or your student newspaper to talk about projects that you've done, papers that you've written.
Now, note what she just said. Projects you've done. What people care about is what have you done, not what test you passed. Let me say it again. Employers care about what have you done, not what tests you have passed, right? That's the issue, right?
Is not just hanging out with your friends in a dorm room doing nothing. It's also going to club events, going to activities with people with the same interests or who want to be in the same career field as you. It's about taking advantage of certain grants and conferences as a student and talking to career professionals and meeting people who are either in the position you want to be in or have connections in those worlds.
Absolutely. Networking is everything. I cannot say how important networking is. It is super important. It's so important. Having good conversations, chatting back and forth, so important to be able to make that happen. I completely agree. Grand Rapids says the commies force people to take the shots, so screw any company. Well, yeah, I mean, there's some of that too. And I think a lot of people did lose jobs because of it, did push away because of it. I agree. That's true. Government did force it in many cases. True. But again, people got to pay bills, Grant. People got to pay bills. I'm not saying you're wrong, but people got to pay bills. Paula says, hire slow, fire fast is what I was told to do. True. I say it always. If you want to hire over the course of 3 months, I'm not joking, 3 months. Well, Larry, I may lose that person. Good, lose them. If they don't want to wait 3 months to get, they want a job, not your job. They want a job, not your job. I don't want somebody who wants a job. I want somebody who wants my job. That's what I want. That's how I want, right? That's the issue. So Kintsugi says, this girl has her head on straight. True. A little bit off on a couple of things, but yes, absolutely. Ryan, thank you for being a member, my friend. When I worked for the government, the most unorganized and overwhelmed workers had graduate degrees. I'm not trying to virtue signal, but that's what I saw. No, this is an issue, right? If the person has graduate degrees and has worked, that's often not true, but so often people have graduate degrees and don't work, right? And then they just have that. So what does it mean? It means they've been told what to do for 10 years, 20 years. So all of a sudden, they're not told what to do, and they struggle. It's a common problem. Yes, it's a common problem, 100%. Yes, that is a common issue. We see it all the time. You are correct. So, all right, guys, I want to ask you, if you don't mind, if you do want to help out this show, you can. One of them you can super chat, obviously. Some of you have already super chatted already. You can super chat me on YouTube or rant me on Rumble if you like. Also good. You can also become a member if you want to. On YouTube, you can pop over and become a member. Click that join button to become a member. $49 per month. The more members, the better. A lot of you guys have been gifting memberships. Thank you so much. I appreciate that tremendously. Also, the advantage of members is members can submit reaction vids. Some of the reactions I've put together. Yep, absolutely. There's also going to be a panel show this July 11th at 8 p.m. I've already reached out to 3 people who I want on. If you please check the posts on YouTube to see if you've been if I've reached out to you. If I have, please respond. So if I can get 3 people for this Friday at 8 p.m. If you can do that, that'd be awesome. So we can make sure we get the people on. It will be a panel show, which is amazing. So I do like it for you members. Remember, the member show doesn't mean only members can view. The member show means members are on physically with me, but everyone can view, right? I want everyone to be able to view. That's why we're doing it. So you can see that when the time comes, you guys can see that on Friday. So it should be great.
It has been written about over and over again how college is an economic equalizer. There will never be a point in your life where you are around such people with different economic backgrounds.
That is networking. She's
so you can take advantage of having amazing relationships with people that can put you onto different things. Thinking about their careers, later on admitted they never did any internships and then took away a year out of the country.
What does it take to get a job nowadays? Like an entry-level position. What does it take to get that?
Don't go on TikTok and complain. That will be one of the things.
Because I've been job searching for over a year. I have a bachelor's degree. I have research experience. I have work experience of over 4 years. And I keep getting...
Okay, if you have work experience of over 4 years, I'm not saying she doesn't. How are you not turning that into something? Here's the issue. I have experience. Awesome. I'm going to go back to the same thing. What have you done? I'm going to give you guys a resume tip that most people don't do. People will tell you, put bullet points on it and put all the experience you have. No, nobody gives a shit. 10 years experience in this, nobody cares. Every single bullet point on your resume should either be a number or a name drop. That's it. If there's a number or a name drop on that bullet point, it means garbage. And do not put experience. My responsibilities included. No one gives a shit. Don't do that. So instead say, dealt with this project, helped with this number of people, this amount of money, this amount of customers, this amount of this, numbers in it. An example of a bullet point, bad and good. Here's bad. Responsibilities included accounts payable and customer relations. Means nothing. That's you might as well just wipe your ass with that. Useless. A better bullet would be, ran an accounts payable department of 3 members that was responsible for $7 million monthly and dealt with 40 customers every week. Number. What did you do? What did you achieve? That's the issue. And then right underneath that bullet, receivables went from $1 million a month down to $500,000 a month within 60 days. That's an achievement. That's a good resume bullet. That's a good resume. She's not doing that. Or she hasn't done anything, right? Either she hasn't done that or she hasn't done anything. And she's just sat around for 4 years and was told what to do. And I don't need you. Particularly with AI, if you don't have what they're now calling agency, what most of us would call initiative, but now in the HR world, they're calling it agency. But I think most of us would call it initiative. If you don't have initiative, you're not valuable. And that may hurt. But I'm trying to tell you how to get a job. Show you have initiative. Most of these people don't have initiative. They have entitlement. If you have entitlement, you are a walking lawsuit. I don't want to hire you.
Rejection after rejection after rejection. I have been, getting advice from recruiters on this app, from people who give career coaching advice online.
It's not working. You should be watching my show.
Tailor my resume. I include cover letters even when it's not required. I do like a bullet point list so that's easy to read, why I'm a...
Oh my God. Grace says, a lot of baristas with masters. I see it in New York City all the time, Grace. Consistently, I see it. Right? People say, I got 2 masters. And I'm like, great. I'll take a half and half in that, please. Yeah, don't care.
Good fit. I go on LinkedIn. I reach out to the hiring managers or the recruiters that work for the company. And I'll even reach out to people who already work in the position.
Yeah, Kintugi says number or name drop. Yes, the name drop piece either can be a company you've worked with that will be valuable to the person, or a person's name if it's an important person in that world, or a title that's important. So reported directly to the CEO, that's a name drop. dealt with companies such as Estee Lauder, Pepsi, blah, blah, if that matters in that world, right? So number or name drop. Or could be the person's name. Say there's a very important person in that group that matters. You're doing IT and like someone cares you work with Elon Musk. I don't know if that's true, but if it is true, you put his name. So yes, absolutely. That's what you would do. So yes. I have a question. What has Bernie done for society? What Bernie has done for society is Bernie has given young lefties hope. There we go. See, even I could find something. You thought I couldn't find something, Grant. I did. That's what he did. I'm good at what I do, Grant. I'm good at what I do. It's just true. I'm good at what I do.
Position that I'm applying to. I do all of that after I apply, and I still get rejected. And then even if I make it to the next level with interviews and I do a good job, I'm prepared, I answer the questions great, everything.
Okay, the more questions you answer, the less you're getting that job. Let me repeat that. The more questions you answer, the less you're getting that job. Because college taught you that answering the questions correctly is how you get you win. That's how you get a high grade. Utterly untrue. The more questions they ask you and the more you answer, the more you ain't getting that job. I know people come back and go, Larry, I had a great interview. You did? Yeah, I answered I had a ton of questions. Oh, you ain't getting a job. What? But I answered all the questions right. This isn't college. The less questions they ask, that means they don't want to find a reason to get rid of you, which means they like you, so they're brushing you through the process. The more questions they ask, the more you're cooked. And you think, no, I'm winning because they're asking. No, you should be asking them questions. Oh, yes. I'm 13-0 with jobs I went for. I've never not gotten a job. Zero chance I didn't get a job. 13-0. Correct. I'm undefeated. Now, I don't look for jobs anymore, right? But when I did, I'm 13-0. That's interviews get you a job. Answering questions is how you pass a test. The more they're talking, the more you're winning. When I go to an interview, I'm saying almost nothing. They're talking the whole time. They're talking. I'm going, I'm doing this. I'm nodding my head all day. That's how I get a job. Yeah, that's utterly wrong. That's why she's not getting it. And when recruiters say you have to know how to answer questions, no, you don't. You have to know how to ask a question. That's how it actually works. Kintsugi, oh, you're looking for a job, Kintsugi. They say to list accomplishments, not experience, right? True. Yes. 100% true. That's absolutely accurate. Yes.
Seems send out my thank you emails. I'm very responsive to them, very professional in all of my communications with them. Even with all of that, I'm still not getting jobs. And like I said, it's been over a year and I don't know what to do anymore.
So my dad is one of.
All right. Ryan says, Larry, what if you're trying to get a job at a grocery store, McDonald's? Here's what you want to do. And be very forward with you guys. If you want to get a job and this has been true since I was a kid, and that was like 5 years ago. Since I was a kid, it's been true. What does a manager or a franchise owner at a grocery store or a McDonald's want? Someone who's going to take the job seriously and who wants to grow in that job. Someone who doesn't say this is a fast food joint, but calls it a restaurant. Someone who calls the grocery store an actual store. Someone who actually cares about customer service. Talk about how you could fix things, make things better. You go to McDonald's, go, yeah, I got some experience, whatever. You're another guy. But talk about how, no, I think managing this store will be amazing. I think we could take care of some good stuff, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you're serious. Most people aren't. Here's the reality of places like McDonald's and other places. Who does McDonald's and other franchises, who do they actually give their franchises to? Almost all the time. Two types of people more than anything. Rich people. No, that's not true. Smart people. No, that's not true. People who already own a franchise. I'm not joking. They'd like to have multiple franchise owners. Why? Because you know how to run a store. You're a franchise owner and you're successful. So they like giving more franchises to people who already own a franchise and to people who've been working there for years and are managers. So if you want to actually grow, you could leave your high school. I want you to go to high school, go work at McDonald's, take it seriously. Within 3 years, at minimum, you're a manager. Within 5 years, for sure, you're a manager of a store. You say that 10 years, you'll probably get offered a franchise. They'll finance you. Why? Because the odds are you're going to be successful. And all they want is a successful franchise. Yeah, that's how you make McDonald's work. Now, the question is, do you want to work at McDonald's for 10 years? Do you want to be a restaurateur? Is that what you want to do, particularly when it comes to casual dining? It's not an easy gig. Those of you who work there, that's not easy. But if you put your mind to it, even that could work. Even that could work. So you can do it if you want to. But again, do you want to? I don't know. Up to you. But I hope that answers your question.
Those dads that doesn't believe like how hard it is to get a job right now with like the job market. But he's a teacher, and so he is on summer break right now, and so he's looking for like a part-time job for the summer. And I feel like he thought this was going to be a big aha moment, like for all of his, you know, like children of like, see how easy it is. Like I went to the store, I talked to the manager, I introduced myself, and then I got the job.
Now that's true, but here's the problem. Why is that not real anymore? Because government policies has destroyed the mom and pop. Her dad was right. That is how it worked. That is how it worked. No longer. Those days are sadly over. They are. They're over because government has made sure that small businesses is knocked out. The small businesses are how that used to work, right? That's how you can get a job in a small business. Now it's hard to find them now. And they're scared. They hire the wrong person. Here's the worst part. All the rules they made to protect the employee have made sure that a small business is so afraid to hire anybody because this woman sues you. Look, the penalties that are made by these laws are all written by big business. If you have to drop 50 grand on some lawsuit, big business doesn't care. That's nothing. They're laughing at that. They're happy to go. They lose that. They're paying one of their lawyers that. That's just fine. They don't care. Fine. No big deal. You're a small business. That's the end of you. You're finished. That's the end of you. You're done because she's mad. Somebody's mad. You're finished. That's how it works. That's why they won't do it. So yes, Joel says interview is two-way. Ask questions. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Kim says, when I was 16, I worked at a horse racing training stable with a woman who had a degree. She could shovel S better than I could, but then I didn't have a college degree. I learned from her. Why? Well, there we go. See, she learned shoveling in college, perhaps. I don't know, but good, I guess. I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe. Kim says Reaganomics planning to see to destroy mom and pop. True. That was the beginning. The beginning was really under Reagan. Clinton really hurt. But all the rest kept going. I agree. Yeah, that's when it began. I think that's true. Yes. So, any case, I do want to go one step, another piece if I could. I've been talking about communication, going back and forth, chatting back and forth, and having empathy and chatting with people. There is a great way to make that happen. Yes, it is a great way to make that happen. How do we do that? By going to the advocates and taking the human respect test. Yes, going to the advocates and taking the human respect test. Do me a favor. The advocates are most popular for their world's smallest political quiz. But it's not just that. Head over to theadvocates.org. There's a link on Facebook, a link on Rumble, a link on YouTube. Please use that link specifically so they know it came from that link. Click that link, head on over, and where it says quizzes and apps up here, go over to the human respect test. Take that test. That's right here. It's about 3 minutes, and it talks about how you handle and what you think about human respect. I'm not joking. It is an important piece. Respect is critical. If you see even this show, it's about mutual respect. Respect is important. You see how I treat people. I do my best to respect them even when they start trolling me and stuff. I try to the best of my ability. And even people who disagree with me, I try to give them respect so we have good conversations. The Advocates for Self-Government is all about us being able to handle each other. How do we make things work in this world better? By mutual human respect. If we do that right, you will see people wind up treating each other better, accepting that, okay, you're different than me, but I can still respect you even though I disagree with you. I can still have a conversation even though I disagree with you. I can still go back and forth and we can work together on single issues that we both agree with, even though other things we disagree with. We can do that through human respect. Take the human respect test. When you're done taking that test, it's going to give you your results. Ask for your email. If you want to give me an email, go ahead. If you don't, it's okay. Click the X. You get your results either way. But if you want to give me an email, then they will send you cool stuff and also send you your test to you if you want that. They don't go crazy on emails. I know I get them. They're not that bad. Maybe once every couple of weeks. Not that bad at all. Do it if you can. When you're done, take a screenshot, post it. Tag me if you want to even, right? Post it so other people can take it. The human respect test is an amazing test. It's a lot of fun, about 3 minutes. It'll make you think, which is the number one thing. You'll start thinking about, how respectful are you? It's a good thing. Take a test if you would, and help support the show. They are one of our sponsors. Thank you so much, guys. So please do that if you can. All right, so I popped that piece. I got a couple more of these, and then once I'm done with this one, I got one more I want to show you guys after that, which is, they're all very interesting. I was surprised on how easy it was to find these. I mean, it was insanely simple to find these.
However, that has not been the case, as we all know from doing that. He keeps going to the stores, and either the manager is not there, the manager is there but won't talk to him. The manager does talk to him and says that they'll give him a call, and then they never do. Sound familiar? Like, I hate that he's learning this in like real time, but I'm like, we've all of your children have tried to tell you how bad it is out there, why we're so stressed, and you act like it's not real because
it is real. You're not wrong. It's real, but you have to take action on this. That's the issue. Grant says, ever seen dead people in a fire or a gay man try to give you a crystal ball? I don't know what that means, Grant. Point is, the white male has had a rough time, will not comply us. Oh, was that U.S. flag? It didn't come up. Maybe U.S. sometimes. Okay. You don't have to comply if you don't want to. I don't care. Do what you want to do, Grant. The reality of it is, though, a lot of the people who've checked out, let's talk about, a lot of them are white males. I think that's true. I think a lot of them are white males. Not all of them, obviously, but a lot are. And I feel like a lot of white males, if you go back about 10 years, Grand, a lot of white men were literally deleting themselves. How about that? That was a really tough time. The last 10 to 20 years, I would say since 2008. 2008 was crushing. So what's that, 17 years, give or take? 2008 was crushing for men. It wrecked men, particularly white men. I think you're right. It crushed white men. And after that, there was divorce, there was pain, there was loss of job, there was loss of pride. I think all those things, I would agree with you. And again, black men had it, Hispanic men too. This is not just the white man thing. But by percentage, I think you're correct. More white men by percentage than others. I think that's true. And now after that, people coming out of college, same issues. Young men now are checking out like there's no tomorrow. You're seeing it. And again, most of them by percentage are white young men also. They're checking out. They're like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. Again, black men are too. I don't want the all police to come get me. But I think it's a valid issue. Not complying is up to you. But I would say, instead of worrying about complying, I would worry about doing what's going to be right for you versus complying. If complying is good for you, then comply. If it isn't, then don't. Or go wherever you need to go to make yourself as happy as you can make yourself. That's what I would do. Grant, I don't know if you're white or not. I'm assuming you're white by saying it, but I mean, maybe you're not. That's my view. Do as you see fit, obviously.
Again, you're a teacher, and that's what you've been doing. But like, for all of us, we're just like, what are we supposed to be doing? The job market sucks.
Y'all better keep y'all background checks clean. In 2025, and this job market already is tough getting a job. You can.
Now, this why he's saying this is that just gives someone a reason to not hire you. He is correct. This guy is savvy. He is correct. All right, let me keep going down here if I can. He's just saying, keep it clean.
Because once you're pulled over and the police knows, you're going to get DUI.
I just had an interview at Sephora, and the lady told me over 200 people have applied for a part-time position. Wow. And she hasn't even checked it recently. The last time she checked, 200 people. How am I supposed to get a job in this economy when 200 people are applying for a part-time position?
She's not wrong.
She's like, yeah, I still have to do some more interviews this week and check out who applied. No, hire me. 2 girls in there literally thought I was already working. They came and asked for my help. Girl, I already got the job. They think I'm working there. Why can't you?
For the people.
There we go. Yes. Grant is back in the house. Grant says, I expect an uptick in crime. Yes. However, let me give a however on this, Grant. Crime because of the black market, if that makes any sense, right? I don't think people are going to be purposely trying to rob people more. I think it's going to be a massive black market. And when there's a black market, there'll be a black market in labor, in goods, and all those things. By default, there's crime. Why? Because you can't use courts and cops. So the only way that you can enforce your contracts is street justice, which, of course, is violence. So, yes, I agree with you, but it's not just people rob. There's an old thought process. People are robbing to take bread to feed their kids. That's horseshit. That's not true. That's not how that works. That's a story from like Les Miserables. That's garbage, right? The reality is people go into the black market to pay their bills. That's what actually happens. And in the black market, you have to have more violence. And that's how that begins to work. So I agree with you, but I think because of that. So Grant says, good time to be a private prison owner, I guess. You're probably not wrong. That's sad. Grant, oh, I hate that. I hate that you're right. You're probably right. Oh, God, that sucks. Okay, I don't like that one. So I'm going to ignore that because I don't like that one. So done. My BLA says, I'm wired self-employed. I've cleaned houses most of my working life. I work for a cleaning company twice. I like setting my schedule. Me too. I haven't had a job in about over 20 years. Over 20 years. I enjoy having my freedom. It's definitely a tougher one for sure. It's a tougher world but some people like it. So yeah, absolutely. Robert says, I'm waiting for someone smarter than me to link those early call center customer service as a precursor to the H-1B preference in tech. Hold on. I'm waiting for someone smarter than me to link those early call center customer service as a... Was that for me? I don't get that one. I don't get that one. I must have missed something. I don't get that one. Yeah. Kim says, I'm not a very respectful to customer support operators on the phone. I will tell the truth of myself. There we go. There we go. Yes.
People that don't believe that the job market is absolute crap right now. Oh, just call them, just email them, I'm going to read you something.
Okay, here's the problem with that, right? This is a cultural issue. This is a cultural issue. And the cultural issue is we have decided that optimism is all that matters in America. It's not true. So we just lie to each other because we have to be optimistic. Don't feel bad, feel good. We have to affirm everything. It wrecks society. I'm sitting here telling you the truth on how to get shit done. I'm telling you what's happening right now. They won't. Oh, don't worry. It'll be good. No, it won't. It's not unless you do something. You must take charge. You must do something or it's not going to be good. It's just not. That's not how the game works. I will ask you guys, though, please, regardless of whether you like me or not, click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Please click that button. It does matter. Click the like button. It does matter. If you haven't shared, repost this now, you are a bad person. That's it. If you don't share, if you don't repost this now, you don't want people to, you want white men to suffer. See, why are you a bigot? Don't be a bigot. Don't hate white people. Click the share and repost it. That's the only answer. I'm just saying that's how you do it. Do that. Also, please follow me on Facebook, X, and Rumble. If you don't, you hate the children. Don't hate the children. Don't hate white men. I know lots of white men. I like a lot of them. I mean, some of them are jerks, but most of them are pretty good. So yes, do that. Please click the like button, share and repost this now. It does matter. If you want to super chat me, you can. Super chat me on YouTube, rant me on Rumble, either of those two, so your chat goes right to the front. It's always a good thing if you can. Please do that. I appreciate it. Speaking of rants, I'm looking over on Rumble. Phil says, college debt adds risks and cascading failure. When college degrees don't result in the job, they fall back on personal fulfillment. But most successful artists don't have any master's degrees of fine arts degrees. True. I have a college degree. I do. My college degree, believe it or not, is in anthropology. Useless. But yes, I have one too. But of course, I got my degree a couple years ago. Back when college kind of had some value, maybe not. Space Jason over on Rumble says, if this is hard for our young people to find white-collar work and men are falling back on blue-collar trades work, why do we need immigrants, mass immigration, or H-1B ones? Because of all the men who've checked out, Space Jason, I want them to come back. Mike Rowe's been talking about it. I've been talking about it. We need those young men to get their asses out of their chairs and into the trades. That's the reason. That is it. These young men have checked out. They've been told that having a job in the trades is stupid, it's bad, it's dirty, whatever. And half of the women won't date you if you got a job like that. I'm not making this up. There's a whole lot of women, particularly in cities, not as much outside of cities, but heavily in cities, that if you have a good white blue collar job, they won't date you. They won't. They won't date you because you don't have a college degree. You could be making 6 figures as a plumber, 6 figures as an electrician, 6 figures as a welder, and they won't date you. I'm not joking. Do the homework on it. It's true. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. So it's those 2 reasons, Space Jason. I wish it wasn't that, but sadly, it kind of is. It kind of is. That's the sad part.
Due to this position being in high demand, we do not ask that you call any of this company's site to follow up on your application. Yep. Contacting us via phone prior to your interview may result in automatic rejection of your application.
I don't think you're trying hard enough.
Bro, what? I've applied to 94 jobs this week.
Don't do that ever. Don't do it ever. All right, so I covered that piece if I could. There's a lot of that one. It's literally a half hour of this. It's a half hour of people complaining, a half hour of people in trouble. It's constant again. That's just one show. There's when Patty brought this up, I knew it was real because Patty has her finger on the pulse very often. So I knew it was real. I did not know how real it was. So I did some homework. I was like,
in college and getting my bachelor's,
yes.
But I'm literally not, and I hope that changes because I should be.
It's not a surprise that you can't find a job.
Hold on. Let me touch this real fast.
When it comes to me, I'm open to all opportunities, but I think this past.
Okay. Her TikTok name is Juicy Princess. That's her TikTok name. And she's talking about her employment and how she didn't have a job, didn't try.
Month, it's just been kind of hitting me a little harder than normal. And at the end of the day, I know I'm a smart girl. I will have a job secured for me when the time is right. I'm not.
This is just magical thinking. Women, stop this. This is magical thinking. It's not helpful.
Alone, which is, I think I have to keep telling myself a lot of people are in the same shoes as me right now. Yeah, it still sucks. I want to feel excited for graduating college and getting my bachelor's, but I'm literally not. And I hope that changes because I should be.
It's not a surprise that you can't find a job. I'm trying to tell you right now, this is the beginning of the artificial intelligence.
Note how the men come in and say, what's up?
Let's just call it nosedive. Entry-level jobs are disappearing all over the place. Yep. People who just graduated, I know you guys are struggling to find a job. That's not going to stop. I want to be pretty honest with you. What you're experiencing is the beginning of the artificial intelligence wave of destruction. Even the CEO of Anthropic had to admit that in an interview.
He did. He's not wrong. This is true. Now, I'll grab a couple more of these guys who are talking stuff. A lot of these guys are talking some stuff, which is interesting.
Into law enforcement anymore, at least not right now. There's jobs I just don't think I'm good enough for. And I go on LinkedIn to search for entry-level jobs, and these entry-level jobs are bigger lies than a girl telling you she's not ready for a relationship. Entry-level means little to no experience, not 1 to 2 years or 3 to 5 years. I even saw an 8-year one.
Yep.
Not to mention I live in Washington, D.C., and if you know...
Okay, you kind of screwed that one up. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to pass that. I thought there's tons of that. I just wanted to keep going if I could. So, yeah, lots and lots of that. Lots and lots of that all over the place. Let me grab some more comments if I could. All righty. Let's see here. Mastermind says, it's when we started figuring out that our own government is trying to kill us. True. Kim says, white men are now the place black women were in 25 years ago. You know, I say this all the time, Kim. Don't attack your minorities, because every law you put up against your minority will eventually be used against you. That's how it works, right? So for a long time, and this is a social problem, right? You go back in the past, and white men in America traditionally were one of the most privileged, if not the most privileged group for not decades, for centuries. Most privileged. Yeah. Not as true anymore. The 1% of the world still heavily, men and heavily white men, the 1%. But you go under the 99%, men aren't doing great at all. White men aren't doing that great under the 1%. They aren't. It's true. I'm not sure I would say where black women were 25 years. I'm not sure if I go that far. But I get your point, though. I definitely get your point. There has been a shift, right? There actually has been a shift. So Grand says, I'm partially white, going to paint myself black and move to Jamaica. Don't do that. That's a bad idea, Grand. Do not do that. Bad idea. Don't play blackface. I know you're joking. At least I hope you're joking. Please don't do this. Other Grand, I got 2 Grands, Grand Regent too. A lot of people have had a rough time in this country a lot longer than white males. True, I think the white male problem is relatively new for our country. I agree with you. It started in the 70s and 80s is when it began, when things began to turn. And I'll say again, it was the war on poverty. The war on poverty by the government initially hammered black families first. The war on drugs hammered black families first, worse than anything. And then it started hammering the white families, right? But it was first black families, then white families. Thomas Sowell said it perfectly. I'm gonna mess this quote up, but it's something like the black families survived centuries of slavery, decades of Jim Crow, but was destroyed by progressive policies. It's true. Not wrong. Destroyed by it. That's what crushed it. And of course, then it crushed the white families too. So the epidemic of the opioid epidemic of the 2000s was in the black community in the 80s, right? It took like 20 years for it to get to the white communities. So I think you're right, but it doesn't, what you're saying doesn't take away, and we shouldn't take away, the pain that a lot of white males are feeling now. It's still true, they have pain, but you're right. It's a relatively recent phenomenon. I agree. It is. Phil over on Rumble says, thank you for the $1. I was studying business at community college with my friend, Terrell. It was about 2008, and he decided to switch his major to HVAC. I should have gone into the trades at 20. Yes. I'm sure he's making good money right now. Yes, I think that's true. So, yeah. All right, grab some more of these here. Grand Rapids says people should not apologize for telling the truth. You can, Grand, if you say it in a way that's hurtful, right? You're not required to. You can say it any way you want. There should be no law or rule against it. But socially, culturally, if you say it in a way that hurts people, you're being a jerk for no reason. And you can be if you want to. But if you're a jerk for no reason, you should probably apologize if you're being a jerk for no reason. If you don't want to apologize, you don't have to, but then expect to be ignored. Expect to be scolded in return. If you act that way, expect cultural repercussions for your cultural incivility. Again, I'm a libertarian. You can say you can talk as you want to talk, but there may be social consequences if you say it in a way that comes across as hurtful or mean. Your choice. I would rather try to not do that, try to be more respectful so that at least my message is heard, right? You can still tell the truth without having to be brutally honest or whatever someone decides. And people say they act righteous. I got to tell the truth. You don't have to be an asshole. That's not required. But people do that and act like they're somehow righteous. You're not righteous. You're just a jerk if you do that. Up to you. But if you do it that way, it's just a jerk. Technocrats are building a repertoire against family values and making their own standards. Hollywood is a bunch of, I'm not going to say that. You can get me canceled, Grand Rapids. Don't do that. And lefty media is crap. Well, a lot of truth in that one. But doesn't mean you get to be a jerk. Sorry, doesn't mean you need to be a jerk. How about that? True, doesn't mean you need to be a jerk. That's what I would say. So, all right. Missy says, watch Larry on CiVL on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Yes, subscribe and check out all of CiVL's great content. Use code Larry to get $25 a year. That's true. You can do that if you want to. And you might say, well, Larry, why would I? Let me give you another reason why. All right. Some of you want to learn some stuff. I know you do. You're like, Larry, I want to be smart. I know a lot of you do. That's why you watch this show, because you want to be smarter. Well, guess what? CiVL has an academy. Yes, it does. CiVL has an academy. It absolutely does. If you head on over to CiVL, when you head over there, you'll go to the academy. You see it right here. Law, philosophy, political economy. You want to know Austrian theory? I know some of you are like, my God, I would love to know about Austrian theory. You can click right here, and there they are. Short, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, a minute. Short. Go through each of them and begin to understand theories. Understand all these issues, the business cycle, pricing. If you already got it covered, good for you. You don't got to check this out. But what if you don't have it down? What if you still think Zoran Mamdani's got all the answers? He doesn't. But what if you think he does? Watch this, and you'll be like, wait a minute. Maybe Zoran's not correct. Yes, you could do that right now. You can head over there to CiVL, CiVL.com. Sign up. When you sign up, upper right-hand corner is going to be green little words. Click those words. And when you click it, put in the code Larry, capital Larry. That is my name, the coolest name out there. That's true. Don't be jealous. People not named Larry. It's true. I still love you, even though your name isn't as cool as mine. Put it in, 50% off for the entire year. $25 for the year. Are you crazy? You could learn this stuff, and it's $25 for a year. I showed you Freedom Fest today, and I showed you the Academy today. I showed you Naomi Brockwell last week. I am showing you so much stuff, and here's the best part. You get to have my special CiVL only show on Wednesday at 7 p.m. This is just win-win, guys. This is just win-win. This is the way you upgrade civilization. You upgrade yourself by joining CiVL, CiVL.com. It is the answer, guys. Just saying it is. So, all right. All righty. Let's see here. Andrew says, share to 6 people on Discord. Oh, thank you. You're doing a tremendous service to young people like me. Outstanding. Andrew, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Mike Voss in the house says, not optimism, blind affirmation, and virtue signaling regardless of reality. Yes, but. I'm going to agree with you. And, maybe not a but. Yes, and. How about yes, and? Yes, and. That becomes okay because of the blind optimism our culture has given. Right? Because if I say to you, Mike, come on, man, that's not right. It's this, this, and this. You might enjoy it. You might go, Larry, thank you for being honest with me. But people around me go, Larry, why are you being so negative? Larry, why are you being so negative? Now, if I care about socially how people feel, and most people do, I may say, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to self-censor myself. That's the issue. So I'd add both. I'll add both. He goes on to say, it's always about feeling that you are forced to mimic from people you don't know without context. True. That's a college thing. Well, it's become much more of our world now. I would agree. So Grand Rapids says, we have a country where Scientology and Mormonism is allowed. Yes, there's a problem with that. Mormonism was started in New York State. Don't trash my state. Let the Mormons, why you mess with Mormons? Leave them alone. They ain't doing nothing to you. Scientology don't mess with you either. Leave them alone. People are going to talk trash about the inconsistency in society, bud. Yeah, so what? Leave them alone. What do I care? Why are you being a jerk? Leave them alone. Let the Mormons be Mormons and Scientology be Scientology. Leave them alone. Are they bugging you? You acting like the lefties you talk about. See that, Grand Rapids? You acting like the lefties now. You're getting microaggressioned. Don't get microaggression. Let them do what they want to do. All good. The other Grand Regent says, Republicans on TV are waving their fingers saying men just want to play video games and smoke weed. Nobody wants to work for pennies. I think you're right, and it's wrong. The conservative movement now, their response to men checking out. There's 2 pieces I'm going to add here. The left's response to men checking out is they don't care. They're weak men and patriarchy. That's the left's answer. And the right's answer is you're just lazy and get out there. And you're right. I think both are wrong. The reality of it is, it isn't the working for pennies. It's working for something. A lot of men would work for pennies if they thought there was a future and or purpose and or long-term goal. They would. But not only men have worked for pennies for millennia, my friend. Millennia. But they've got to believe there's something at the end of that. They've got to believe there's hope for the future, or hope to not work for pennies, or hope to buy that house that I want, or hope to get that girlfriend or wife that I want, or hope to get that cool job that I want, or whatever. And I think the key is not the pennies part. The key is it's just pennies. There's nothing else. That's the hard part. That's my view. I think it's not just the pennies. It's that plus no hope for the future. So why bother? Why bother? In reality, most of those guys who have checked out, they are working for pennies and don't care, because they're just working for enough to keep their video games going, to hang out with their buddies here or there, and they just don't care. There's no hope for the future. So I got to go further than that, if that makes any sense. So Andrea says, Mike Rowe looks pretty good doing those other jobs, though. He does. Mike Rowe's great, right? And men can make tons of money doing it, and you like how they look. A lot of women love it. Kim too. Oh, I like a man that has calcium in his hands and smells sweaty when he gets home. A lot of men like that. A lot of women like that. But I don't think either of you live in a big city. A lot of city women do not. They do not. City women want you to come home from your finance job in your cool suit with your great watch. Yes, that's true. Kentucky says, at Kim, yes, ma'am. See, there we go. So you guys all, yeah, there we go. Yes. Mike has, Benny says, they'll date you, but they won't marry you. There's an issue with that too, right? Yeah, there's an issue with that too, 100%. That's a problem. They're not really pair bonding. They're just hooking up. Hookup culture is a real thing. Yes. Josh says, it's not just the young guys. I'm 43 and stopped doing collision repair because of the same pay. I can go flip burgers for McDonald's. Yeah. Right? You're thinking to yourself, why bother? You're another guy who's much, if you haven't already thinking about checking out. Yes. This is my point, right? Grand Regent. It isn't just the pay. It's no future. Josh was actually doing it for a while. Clearly, Josh thought, okay, there's going to be a future here, right? I'll do it now, but there is, right, something, right, that I'm going to get, right, if I do it now. I'll put in the work now for pennies because I'm going to get something at the end of it. But then Josh figured out, I'm not. Why bother? That's my point. I'm glad Josh said that. That was my entire piece. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you for that. So Kentucky says, Juicy Princess, she on that poll. If she isn't on that poll, I think she's on that poll. Yes. Andrew says, I married a painter. I would say I like a hardworking man. Also, my house is painted in the colors I want. You know, if you get a man who can build stuff and do stuff, you probably have a nicer home, right? Because you can bug him and say, hey, take care of X, Y, and Z. Yes, 100%. I think that's true. So Andrew says, how screwed is one if they're socially inept? High functioning, but socially inept. Give it to us straight. It's more challenging. It's more challenging. It doesn't mean impossible. It means you have to find, the thing is you have to understand that you are. And if you tell people you are when you are, many people will be more open to you. I'm not joking. Some people who are socially inept don't know they are. They don't get it, right? Particularly if they're on a spectrum. There's some people on a spectrum who can't because they have trouble with, depending on where you are on a spectrum, you can have trouble with social cues, right? So you don't get that it's not working. You can't because you don't get the social cues, depending on where you are on the spectrum. So if you're one of those people where, okay, man, I'm struggling, you have to work hard and you can use people to help you to figure out, hey, it's not working. See this response, this action, it's not working. And then you, even your spectrum, go, it's not working. And if you announce it, people tend to be more open. If you tell somebody, hey, you know, I have trouble socially sometimes. I don't get the cues all the time. So if I say something or do something, I don't always get it. Can you communicate with me in this way and that way? Some people are jerks and they're going to be assholes to you. It's true. But most people go, oh, that's why. Okay, Andrew, I thought you were a jerk. You're not a jerk. You just don't get these social cues. Oh, okay. And they'll be clear with you. There are a lot of people, for some reason, Libertarian Party on a spectrum. And I deal with a lot of people on a spectrum. And I communicate with them differently because I know I've a lot of experienced people on the spectrum. So I communicate with them differently because I know they require that to get it. And I'm not mad when they don't understand social cues. I don't get mad at them. I go, oh, okay, no, he's not getting it. It's fine. He's not getting it. Let me be clearer on the social cues. So I think if you're open with it, some people are not going to care. They're going to be mean. I don't mean to be, you want me to give you straight? I will. But most people will be far more open. They're like, oh, okay, I get it. And they'll communicate with you better. Right. And so I think that's a critical piece. If you say that, people, and even women too, if you're trying to get a girl more open, better off, something else. If you are socially inept, try to find a woman who's also socially inept. I'm not joking. You'll have some common ground to communicate with. If she is, hopefully, if you are self-aware enough, and hopefully she is too, not everyone's self-aware, if she is, you get a better shot at making a relationship. So yeah, hope that was helpful. All righty. Grant Reed says, when did things change for black men ever? I think now, I'm not joking. I think now and late 60s, those 2 times, that's what I think. And then there was a split. If you were an upper class black male, the 80s and 90s were really good for you. Really good. If you went to a good school, if your parents were wealthy, maybe your parents were immigrants from Jamaica or Nigeria, life was good for you as a black man, 80s, 90s, if you were up here in the top 10%. I mean, you were Dr. Huxtable, not Cosby. You were Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You were that guy if you were of the upper class in the 80s and 90s. I saw it. I saw it happen. I think there was a time for that in that time frame. When the war on drugs was crushing everybody who wasn't upper class, who was black male, putting them all in jail. There was a small percentage of black men in that area who were really doing very well. The late 60s, black men were on the rise, and then the government programs crushed them. War on drugs, war on poverty began to crush them again. But you saw them on the rise. They were joining unions more. The families were growing better. That was happening late 60s. That went away. And then there was a gap. If you look at all the data, Grand Regent, black families were growing in every way you can imagine, even through apartheid, even through our apartheid that we had in America in the 40s, 50s, 60s, even through apartheid, even through that, before that, 20s, whatever. You can see the black family growing and the black male gaining more money, gaining more everything, right? Gaining status, right? In the 60s, you had black men on TV. Didn't have that before, right? That was a big change. The Mod Squad, which was a big deal. Have a player. You had I Spy again. Bill Cosby. Sorry about that, guys. But yes, you had that happening. I think you did see that happening, and then that went down. Then there was a split in the black community where, like, the top level was going into colleges, going to law, running businesses, and then everybody else was going to jail. So I think that happened, and I think right now. There is almost culturally, I should say, there's almost a idea that black men are cooler, better now than in a long time. I think now and those times. And again, if you were top percentage of black men in the 80s and 90s, life was good for you. You were taking advantage of all the tokenization that was happening. I know it sounds horrible, but I'm just being very forward, right? They were like putting you in spots because, we care about black people. So here's our black friend. And now he's the CEO. That was happening a lot. So I hope that answers your question at least. I think that's probably the times I would see it. Yeah. All righty. Let's see here. I got a bunch of these here. All right. So many. I appreciate this. You guys got a lot of stuff going back and forth. I don't know which ones to grab. So Robert Reed says the black community has typically always had to rely on public sector jobs because of private sector discrimination. That's not true at all. No, Rob, that's wrong. That's not true. That happened relatively recently. If you look in most of the black communities' history, we had all our own stuff. Right? I mean, I forgot who said it. It was Killer Mike. Killer Mike said this, and he was right when he said it. He goes, there was an advantage to segregation. He said this. He's like, there was an advantage. And the advantage was there had to be a black lawyer because you can use the white one. There had to be a black baker. You can use the white one. There had to be a black, shoe repairman. You can use the white one. There had to be black restaurants. You couldn't go to white ones. So there had to be our own stuff. And I think the culmination of that was the Black Panther Party in California. And we weren't looking at public sector jobs. We were looking at private sector. The discrimination was there, but we had our own, right? The problem is the government stepped in and said no more of that, literally by bombing our Wall Streets, which there were more than one Wall Street, bombing our Wall Streets, crushing our own things, to where finally guys like Malcolm X said, do we have to go to violence for this? Is that what we got to do? And guys like MLK said, fine, we'll be socialist. Just stop killing us. We'll be socialist. Just don't kill us. I'm not making that up. That's how that actually happened. So now that starts to happen. When that begins to happen, now there's forced integration, and forced integration creates actual discrimination in the private sector. So now you don't get the black businesses anymore, and now it's going into white businesses. So that's, I mean, 50 years, that's maybe 50 years or so. So that's relatively new, to be forward with you. In the past, black people didn't go to white businesses, right? They went to black businesses. So I hope you get my point. So, all right. Let's see here. Henry says, I like being a jerk, though. You can be. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying, if you are, you might get something in return. That's all. Matt says, man, I get so sick and tired of these whiny TikTok bees. You know, TikTok destroys women. It's really for women. I mean, there's men on it too, but it's really heavily women. And it crushes them because it makes them think this is what they should be doing. And they shouldn't be. So, yeah, I get you. Yes. Michael says, being a jerk is not good for getting a job. True. Being likable and being able to get along with all kinds of people will make you more employable than anything. People don't like working with good luck. If people don't like working with good luck. Yeah, I get what you're saying with that one completely. Yes. All righty. Grab some more. You know what? Before I go there, I want to do one more thing if I could. I've asked you guys more than once to hit the like button. I've asked you to rant. I've asked you to do all those things. I want to ask one more thing of you. I always click the like button. I always ask that. But I'm asking one more thing of you, if I could. I'm going to ask you guys to not just go over to the advocates to take the human respect test, but also, because of what's happened with Elon Musk recently, take the Doge single issue survey. Yes, the Doge single issue survey. Head over there, as I said, look at all the cool stuff they got on here, all these quizzes, tons of them. The Doge single issue survey asks questions like this. What is your view on placing a tech billionaire like Elon Musk in charge of government reform efforts? Select the one you think. And it goes on and on and on. Interesting questions to make you think. It brings much needed business expertise and efficiency to bloated government bureaucracy that career politicians and civil servants cannot provide. Or it provides a dangerous conflict of interest that gives private business interests undue influence over public institutions and resources. The problem isn't who leads the government reform, but the existence of a massive bureaucracy that should be drastically reduced regardless of who's in charge. Which one do you prefer? Which one's closer to you? Click that and move on. And again, as always, once you are done with that, it's going to ask you, hey, you want to give your email or not? You already have it already? Great. It will then email you the results. Otherwise, click the X. You get the results right there. Screenshot it. Post it. Why? This will get people thinking. This will get people talking. Send these tests to your friends. Send these tests to people you know. Just like you see, like, you know, what kind of whatever Harry Potter character are you, right? This way better than that. Like way better than Harry Potter characters or whatever. Which one of the Golden Girls are you? Is that a thing? Whatever. Don't do that. Do this one instead. It's way better. Click the link that is in both Rumble, also on Facebook, also on YouTube. There's a link right there. It says link to the advocates. Click that link. Go over there. Do this so that they can be happy, because I want them to be happy, because this is amazing for all of us. Please do that if you would. I'd appreciate it. It does make things a whole lot better. All righty. Let me keep going down here if I could. Kintsugi says, Mormons are some of the sweetest people. Leave them be. Agreed. Yes, leave them alone. Why are you messing with people? Don't do that. Leave them alone. Grand Region says, I like the Amish. Shout out to them too. Yes. Leave them alone. 100%. Matt says, funny story about Scientology. I went to the used bookstore yesterday and putzed around and made it to the clearance area and found a decent looking sci-fi book. Then I found the offer was, of course, the founder of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard. Yes. And the movie Battlefield Earth, I think that was what it was. Yeah, that was also his book. That was his book too. So yeah, 100%. So, all right. Michael says, Mormons are generally really nice, cool people. I met a few and liked them very much. I got to tell you, it's going to sound funny, but it's true. I have never met a Mormon I haven't liked. I met lots of people I didn't like. None of them are Mormon. So look, maybe I just happened to find all the nice Mormons. Maybe it's possible. Or maybe they're kind of nice people. Just saying. I don't know. Just saying. Yeah. I don't know. Yes. All righty. Robert says, white men have had a higher self-deletion rate. A stat I believe has changed, but black men have typically always been bothered in society. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Yes, I guess. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Yeah. So, all right, let me keep going down here. There's so many. I'm trying to grab as many as I can. Robert says, oh, that sentence was supposed to read, I'm waiting for someone to link the loss of those early call center customer service jobs and their preference for their H-1B visas in tech. Oh, okay. That's what you're talking about. We're going to have to make some real changes in this. I'm not sure where that's going to happen, right? What are we, the at least 20 million, undocumented workers that come aboard, at least, if not more, they're going to fill all the jobs that those 7 million men who have checked out they're going to take those jobs, right? And as they grow, they're going to take those jobs that American men don't want. And people keep saying, that's not true, right? That's not true. Men want to work. They don't want those jobs and one of the reasons is most women, particularly city women, and remember, over 50% of Americans now live in an urban area. They don't want those men. Yeah, it's an issue. It's a problem. Kinsugi says, that's such great advice, Larry. Don't hide it. Announce it. Noted. Yes, there will be jerks, Kinsugi, who are going to be mean. They exist. But if you're open about it, the odds are higher people will be more. What people get upset if you're socially awkward is it feels like you're being disrespectful, right? That's how it feels. That's why it feels awkward. But if you announce it and go, hey, I'm not a jerk. I just sometimes don't get things. And they go, oh, you're not a jerk. No. I don't get things sometimes. Oh, okay. Then they become much more open and going, let me tell you what I mean. Let me be clearer in my communication. You go, got it. Thank you. Then if you're a jerk, then you're really a jerk because you might be a jerk. I mean, I don't think you are, but I'm just saying theoretically. So yes, absolutely. So, but I guess Bad Niece says women do love a project. True, if he's hot. So hopefully at least you're good looking. If you're not, that good, maybe that's it. That's something, I guess. There we go. So Kizuka says, for me, I need a guy not as social inept as I. Okay, but still should be at least understanding. How about that? There we go. Yes. Grand Regent says, I keep telling all these alt-writers I argue with that they can get rid of all the Mexicans today. That doesn't mean the cost of living or housing goes down or you see an increase in that paycheck. If you got rid of all the concept is, if you get rid of all the Mexicans, I know what you mean when you say that, right? If you did, then the jobs would have to pay more for people to take them. That's the concept. The problem is that hasn't always been shown to be true. In certain cases, that does happen, but not all, because many of the jobs people simply don't want. We found that out in a couple of states in the South who got rid of all their Mexicans, to take your point, and the crops just sat in the field. People wouldn't do it. Even when they raised the price, people wouldn't do it. Another example I give often is slaughterhouses. Americans in general do not want to work in slaughterhouses. It doesn't matter how much you pay. Some of those jobs in slaughterhouses pay $35, $40 an hour. They might go, is that a lot of money? Where those jobs are in New York City, that's survivable. But in some of these areas where these slaughterhouses are, they're rural areas. You make $35, $40 an hour in a rural area. That's a living wage. You're doing good. You're doing fine. With $35, $40 an hour in a rural area in America, you're doing just fine. You could have a family on that, right? Not in New York City, but in parts of America, absolutely. They don't want to do it. I mean, I get it. I wouldn't want to work that job either, right? I also would not want to work that job. Slaughtering animals all day, I wouldn't want to. So yeah, that I definitely could see that being a problem. Dave says, Will had to flee Bel Air because of Fat Albert Anderson and Notorious Junkyard Gang was after his ass. I remember that. The Junkyard Gang. Bill Cosby was, until he did his stuff, he was a cultural icon, Dave. He was. Absolutely. Kim says, blacks endured and improved so well and made great progress. That's why Black Wall Street was destroyed. True. That's accurate. That was true racism. It was horrible. Yes. Yes. And also, not just that, on top of that, that was also, that split when it was in Oklahoma, Tulsa, that one was actually supported directly by government troops, literally by government troops, because it was right after World War I. and there were a lot of black veterans that had firearms. So they brought the army in to disarm the black veterans, and then the rest of people went in and burned it down. So yeah, that actually happened. I did a show on that and I showed pictures of it. That's how it works. So yes. All righty. Masterman Hour says, I am so anti-Musk that now I refer to my ex-wife as my Grimes wife, X-rays as radiographs, X-Men as Xavier's boys, and Malcolm X as Malcolm Twitter. I think that was supposed to be funny. It was cute. It wasn't funny, but it was cute. I'll give you that. It was cute. Yes, absolutely. Grand Region says, we used to have a Negro baseball league, bus service, etc. Yes. My point completely. Yes. All those things were true, right? I do think there was a point. There was an advantage. I'm not for segregation at all, but there was an advantage. There was an advantage. That's all I'm saying. There was. That's my only piece. Kim says TikTok is a public pity party spot. True. Oh my God, that's so good, Kim. Very good. Very good. That's absolutely true. Yes. Grand Region says a lot of beautiful women on TikTok. The only that keeps me there. You're not wrong. There's a lot of hotties on there. That's true. Yeah. But again, do you want to date them or do you want to look at them? I think just look. I think just look. So, Grand Rapids says, but has Scientology left people alone? I think in general, yes. Have they been? Is that right? I think that's true. Have they been bothering people? I don't think so. I mean, maybe you know something I don't know. I don't. I think they've been pretty good. So, yeah, there we go. So, Grand Rapids, are you giving me a compliment? I think this is a backhanded compliment. Larry Sharpe looks like a better looking and smarter, less of a commie Obama. I am better looking, true. I am smarter, true. And I'm far less of a commie. So I think those all are true. You're right. I think that was your way of kind of giving me a backhanded compliment. I will accept your compliment. There we go. I will accept it. Oh, Mike saw that. Okay, Mike saw it already. Okay, Mike was already on board. He goes, it's a real backhanded, feeling almost racial compliment. Larry is just smart and political. Isn't that enough? Thank you. Okay, Mike already had my back. I thought it was true. There we go. Yes. Okay. There we go. Mike already had my back. That's great. I love that. I'm late to the party here sometimes, guys. I apologize. I try to grab all these. There's so many of these coming in. I'm trying to grab as many as I can, and I know they do pop up all over the place. So I apologize when I'm behind on these. Sometimes I am. So, all righty. Grand Rapids goes on to say Democrats have been to KKK. Also true. True. Also true. Yep. All righty. Grab a couple more of these. Missy says, I don't go on TikTok. I swear I can't get into it. Missy, it's made for you. Like TikTok is literally made for you. Literally made for you. Yes. I'm surprised you don't like it. Yes. Joel. All right. Joel coming up with the most one, cleaning up TikTok. That's a Biden one. You might just call me, just call me Corn Pop at that point. Come on, Joel. Now you just call me Corn. Yeah. Joel called me Corn Pop. All right. I thought we were friends, Joel. I see how you are. I see you are. Jean says, I remember driving kids home from school. The last kid was giving me directions to her house. I passed it up. She said, you never listen. I said, I listen. Sometimes I just don't understand. This was a student that I only drove once because I was filling in for someone. I suspect that she must have heard people tell her that she never listens. I hope my answer to her was helpful. Oh, that's awesome. Gene, you have some of the best stories, right? You have some of the best stories. I do like your stories. They're good. Kintsugi says, Larry is a handsome and dapper fellow. True. And modest. Humble on top of all the awesome things that I am also humble. Let's never forget that. That's critically important. Of course it is. So I think I have covered a bunch of things. I put a bunch of stuff in the, there's one more. I missed one. All right. I want to grab a little bit more. I may go a little bit long on this. I want to grab this last little piece that I had actually forgotten. This one is Zach Rios. I took so many comments. I had one more thing I wanted to pop up real fast. If any of you guys checked out, you missed. This is going to be a good one. I'll give you a little bit of this one if I can. All right. This is Zach Rios talking about the same problem that everywhere is.
Recent videos, you should do an update mass layoff video. Amazon are laying off another 14,000 employees. The market.
This is happening everywhere. Layoffs are everywhere.
Cooked. So that is exactly what we're going to be doing today. We're about 7 months into the year already, which is pretty crazy to say. Time really does fly. But the news coming out month after month only seems to be getting worse when we're talking about mass layoffs, finding a job, or the market as a whole. So we have a lot to go over today, along with comments from you guys from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments down below. But let's start off with some recent mass layoffs.
Another day, another round of mass
layoffs.
This time it's outside of the tech industry.
I'm going to move past this. People
Chevron,
getting fired.
Just got laid off. So, you have any tips and tricks for a hot girl unemployment summer? Let me know.
Guys, I got laid off again.
Yep.
2 layoffs in the same span of 6 months is crazy.
Yes. Andrew says, I read 100,000 from the last time I checked how many people were let go from big tech companies. It is everywhere. I completely agree. Guys, we got to start thinking how to deal with this. It's everywhere. Yes. It is everywhere. 100%. Yes. Joel says, Larry does attract very good looking women followers. True. That's because I'm so handsome. All the hotties come to me. That's how that works, Joel. All the hotties come to me. True. Yes.
I got fired this morning from a company I have been working at for the last 8 years. I've had the same boss for the last 8 years. And yeah, it happened this morning. 9 a.m. I had a meeting booked with my boss. Our HR business partner immediately joins the call. They tell me that due to restructuring, they have to make hard decisions, and they have decided after review at all leadership levels that my job will be terminated.
Yep.
This came as a massive shock. There was no performance improvement plan. There was no conversation.
Now, the performance improvement plan, also known as a PIP in HR speak, the PIP is just a way of getting rid of you. The second you go on a PIP, it's just time before they fire you. Well, they don't do PIPs anymore because they just want to fire you. So they decide to restructure. Now, why do they restructure? Because restructuring is a way of getting around firing you. I know I restructure. I do the same thing. So I'm not going to fire you, right? Because then you're going to sue me, right? This stupid government trying to punish everyone and letting for every single reason an employee can sue you, making hiring impossible and making firing a disaster. So I have to lie to her. They're not restructuring shit. I know. I do it too. I'm not restructuring, but I have to restructure. So to change some names and stuff, I have to. Otherwise, I get sued. So now she doesn't know what happened. She doesn't know why. And she's in trouble. It hurts the employee because the employee doesn't know what and how to get things done.
About how I could have been performing better. They essentially just told me, effective Friday, your role is no longer here.
Yep.
My only question I could muster the strength to ask is like, what's happening with my team? Are they also being let go? And they said that they could not answer that question at the
They can't answer because you might sue them. Do you understand the world we're in right now? In a stupid attempt the government has to make it better for employees, we made it nothing but worse. Nothing but worse.
time.
So after 8 years of working at the company, she ends up getting laid off. No warning, completely out of the blue. You are now out of a job. And if you saw my video a few weeks ago, specifically looking at older workforce, there was example after example, 20, 25, 30 years working at one single company. And as soon as there's any restructuring, boom, you're out, you're canned.
Okay, yes. If you expect, I don't mean to be mean again, if you expect your company to care about you, you're being foolish. Unless it is a small business, which government is going to have to destroy. Small businesses often did because it was a personal connection, right? You hired the guy who was your friend's son or something like that, right? You were with them together for years. Then they cared. These are all big corporations. They don't care about you. They don't care if you've been working for 5 minutes or 50 years. They do not care. Yes. Lee says, man, I've been planning to just float for a couple of months to see if the company I worked for gets a new contract. But all those people think I should start applying elsewhere. Yes. Yes. Start networking now. Here is the biggest problem that people don't do. They don't network 24/7, 7 days. You should be networking always, meeting people, chatting with people all the time. You should be out there like there's no tomorrow. Yes, yes, and yes. Liberty Check says, should more libertarians be self-employed? To be forward, we all should be. We all should be. And this, by the way, is the future, Liberty Check. I'm glad you're back in action. I'm good seeing you again. This is the future. If you are not thinking entrepreneurially, you are in trouble. You are at risk unless you work specifically for a government agency that the odds are it will not be cut. If the odds are your agency will not be cut, you're safe. Who cares? Do what you want. Don't even come to work. You're not even get fired. Who cares? It's fine. Whatever. But if your agency might get cut or you don't work for a government agency, yes, you should be thinking entrepreneurially all the time. And the difference between entrepreneurial is employees think this way. They think, I worked for X hours, therefore I should be paid. That's how employees think. I put in my time, I'm owed. That's how employees think. Entrepreneurs think, I have produced value, therefore I should be paid because I have produced value. That mindset's very different. Nobody, let me say it one more time, nobody is wealthy because of an hourly wage. One more time. No, not one person on the planet. No one is wealthy because of an hourly wage. They're wealthy because they produced value that people thought to pay for. That's why they're wealthy. That's the most important piece to remember. If you change your mindset to that, you will be a better employee and be more valuable. If you're like, but I worked here for 25 years, nobody cares, sadly. I know that sounds terrible, but it's true. And here's what people say, companies don't want to pay. That's not true. Companies in the past, and sometimes they say, pay me a lot of money sometimes. Why? Because you're good looking, Larry. No, not because that helps, I'm sure, but that's not why. Because I produce value for them. They know very often that I'm the only guy that can do this kind of job, this kind of thing. That's why I get phone calls often. People want me for a reason, right? And I don't do hourly. You want this thing? You got to pay me X flat dollars. And they go, okay. They go, okay. Because they want the value. They want the outcome that I'm going to give them. And if I'm going to give them the outcome, they will give me the dollars. That's how it works. We should all be thinking that way, even if we're hourly. Because I got to tell you, there have been many times. I'll give you one example. I was working for a company. I was a consultant in their C-suite. And I told them, I said, I don't do 3-hour meetings. It's not a good way. It's not a good use of time, blah, blah. 45 minutes is the max I want to do. And they went, okay, great. But we have a 3-hour meeting. I said, I got it. What 45 minutes do you want me to be in? Like, no, the whole meeting. I said, no, I'm doing 45 minutes. Which is my 45 minutes do you want me to be in? And people are like, what? You can't say that. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can. I was the guy who was giving them what they wanted. Yes, I can. Now, you might say that you gambled. I did, but it didn't matter. The meetings became 45 minutes because I'm not staying for 3 hours like I should have do. I have to provide you with value that you're paying me for. And to do that, I can't sit in the meeting for 3 hours. I know that sounds crazy, but that's an example. I'll give you another example. This is years ago. Who gets away with the most in almost any business? Mike will know this because he's been in this world. The guy who sells the most. Top sales rep does whatever the hell he wants. I actually had one of my vice presidents tell me this. He said, you'll be in this meeting every single Tuesday at 7 or whatever it was. I forgot whatever the time was. You're going to be here no matter what. I don't care. If you got a client, you're going to miss that client. And one guy's like, yeah, but what about Joey? Oh, I forgot his name, whatever. I'm saying Joey. I don't remember his name. What about Joey? Why is he here? I say, he goes, because Joey brings in over $100,000 in commissions every year. When you bring in $100,000 commission every year, you don't have to show up to this meeting. Quiet. Why? He brings value. Now, value could be dollars, values could be knowledge, value could be leadership, value could be specific skill set, whatever, right? If you think I bring value, therefore I should be paid, then what starts happening is people start treating you differently and start paying you differently. That should be your mindset. I hope that makes sense. Good to see you, by the way. So, Massman Hour says, I left the rat race decades ago by necessity, but I can't even imagine going back. It will probably happen soon. yeah, it can be a challenge for sure.
Adds into the fact that company loyalty just does not exist anymore. They don't care about you. They only care about the bottom line. Even if they make you do stuff like this, watching my corporate job cut me after moving me and my family across the state less than 7 months ago.
But the problem is you constantly see that what I don't like about this guy, Zach, he does good stuff. He does. But he just blames companies for it's not a give and take with him. Every company's evil. They're just greedy. He's making money too. Just saying, right? He's making money too. Becky says, lol, I was subcontractor for a government agency that Trump wants to cut. I've been working from home since COVID and I've had no network except God. Okay. You need to find a way of getting out, Becky. You need to find an excuse. And here's what you always need to think about. Think about professional events. Professional events that you can go to in your field, in your world, even close. Doesn't matter. Close, that you can find a way to go. If possible, get your government job to pay for it. If you can, that's a negotiation. They sometimes have budget for it. If they do, get on that budget. If not, it may be worth paying your own way. It's tax deductible, at least that's something, right? Because it's business. Get in front of other people. Critical. Find an excuse, Becky. I'm not joking. If you can't do it physically, then do it remotely via Zoom or whatever the case may be. You need to be doing this network. God is wonderful, but he may not get you a job. Please do it. It does matter. Please do it. Yes. All right. Grand Rapids says, mindset is adaptable. I've been a plumber, excavator, accountant, firefighter. Psh, what hat you want me to wear, boss? I like that. Oh, good. Ingrid says, very different mindset. I don't think I could adjust. I would not survive being an entrepreneur. You don't have an entrepreneur, Ingrid. It's a mindset you want to have even as an employee, because managers will see that. Owners will see that, right? Owners will see that. And the problem is we've been taught, I'm not showing up and working if I don't get paid. That's the attitude we give. Now, I'm not saying you should work and not get paid. It is attitude. If the attitude is, well, I'm going to bring a lot of value, so I should get paid a lot because I bring a lot of value. That's the same idea of I'm not going to work for free, but it's a whole different way, right, of doing that. That's what I'm saying. Yes. Becky says, events like in person with humans? Yes. Literally. Yes. Most people don't want to do that. So if you do, yes. Kintsugi's coming with you. She says, I will if you will. See that? Now you got a partner. Easy day. Absolutely easy day. Jean says, my husband works for a grocery store. Last year, the owner of the store retired. He sold the store to a corporate store chain. My husband is finding out that his employee no longer cares about him. Yes. Correct. We've made a world to where the mom and pop is gone. Corporate doesn't care about you. Gene, you've heard me 1,000 times talk about building small communities, getting those small stores back. This is why. You're totally correct. This is why.
There were a lot of stories like that, moving across the state, moving across the country for a job. And, we didn't have that good of a quarter. Maybe our stock price didn't go up as much as we wanted it to. So now there's going to be some restructuring. And see ya. I mean, we could just take.
Okay, but let me go back the opposite way. What if it was the individual? They have an issue or concern. Aren't they going to ask for a raise? So when the individual wants a raise, when the individual wants more money or wants to work less, that's fine. But when the business doesn't want it, that's not good. No, this is a back and forth. Neither one is a friend. Gene just showed us the company's not your friend, right? I tell everybody this. Everybody I tell this. Unless you own the company is not your friend. Just keep that in mind. Unless you own the company is not your friend. Don't ever think it is. It's not your friend. It is that you negotiate with the company like anything else. It's not your enemy either. That's the problem. Most people like this guy, Zach, treat it like your enemy. It's not your enemy. It's just an entity you have to work with. Negotiate with it.
A look at my own comment section. I asked you guys, have you or someone you know been laid off recently? My coworker was fired last week and I might be next. Yep. Got laid off in February. I was laid off 2 weeks ago. Literally today, there were tons and tons of comments like this. Guys,
your mindset has to change. That's the issue.
landscape is an absolute mess right now.
I am still shocked how many people in my comment sections are underestimating how cooked the corporate job market is.
Yep.
I've been in recruiting for coming up to a decade in July, and I've literally never seen candidates struggle as much as they are right now on the job market. And these are not poor candidates. These are not people who are unqualified. These are some.
This guy is not good at what he does. Because you just said unqualified. Doesn't matter. I've been saying this. I feel like my head's going to explode. When I was on campaign in 2018, the amount of people who told me, and I tell the story often, I'm going to tell it again. Guys would say, Larry, I just want the guy to show up. I'll teach him. Just have a work ethic. They just want you to have a work ethic. And they'll teach the rest. Just have a work ethic. I remember one guy, I tell some of you guys know a story. Guy told me a story. He says, here's my entire hiring process. I tell them that the interview's at 9 a.m. I open the door at 8:55. If they're there, they're hired. That's it. If they're there, if they show up. And I told that story in another event, like a couple weeks later, whatever. And a guy was like, oh my God, he's right. He says, I had 12 interviews this week. 6 were no-shows, 4 were late. And he's about qualifications. It's not qualifications. It's mindset. It's, are you a good person? Will you work with the people? Are you employable? Are you tolerable? Do I want to be around you? Some of these people are intolerable. Why would I hire you? You're a walking lawsuit.
Some of the most qualified people I've ever seen on the job market, and they are struggling. I'm hearing about people who are applying to thousands of jobs and not hearing anything back from any company. I'm hearing about longer and longer rounds of interviews.
Job market.
So I just got laid off from my finance job.
Yep.
The company decided to cut costs, and apparently my 4-year bachelor's degree from really good business school and graduating on the dean's list, plus passing my Series 7 on the first try, which not many people do, didn't meet the cuts. So
yes, nobody gives a shit. I keep saying this. I am smashing my head against the wall. Nobody cares. I've been saying this for 8 years. Nobody gives a shit. Doesn't matter. I went to good school. So I went to University of Maryland. Not a bad school, but no one's like, oh my God, University of Maryland. No, they go, oh, that's a college. It is. Yes. Yet I've taught at the graduate level of Yale and Columbia. Yeah, nobody cares. This is shit no one cares about. They've been telling you this shit for 40 years, and parents still believe this. It doesn't matter. They don't care. AI got rid of him. What value has he done? He didn't say, I do this stuff for the company. No, nobody said that. All they talk about is their qualifications, as if I deserve it because I have qualifications. None of them said what I did for the company was. Why? Because they aren't doing shit for the company. If they were, you wouldn't get fired. Companies don't fire you when you're doing stuff for the company. That's not how it works. And people don't get that. They think, just being mean. No, they're not being mean. They don't care. That's the piece. Oh, I'm sorry. I just got past this. There we go. All right.
The company decided to cut costs, and apparently my 4-year bachelor's degree from really good business school and graduating on the dean's list, plus passing my Series 7 on the first try, which not many people do.
Dean list, nobody cares.
Didn't meet the cuts, so
no one's ever asked what my GPA is. Nobody gives a shit.
They decided to make the cuts with my paycheck. Yay me.
Real quick, before I say anything, we look at some of the comments. Doesn't matter where you go to school.
Thank
it
you.
only matters what they think they could split your work up onto others and get away with. Sorry that happened to you. They only care about themselves. Other people were talking about him going to an apparently prestigious school. Grow up, man. Nobody cares where you went to school and what your GPA was. They let you go because you were probably the last to get hired. I mean, maybe that was the case. I don't know. But how many of us were told in school, the better the grades you get, the better college you'll be able to go to. And if you get into any of the Ivy Leagues, to Harvard, Stanford.
If you don't network, remember the first woman early in the car talking about networking? If you don't network at Harvard, if you don't network at Yale, you just threw your money away.
As soon as you graduate there, you could pick from your $250,000 a year jobs and live happily ever after. I don't have it in this video, but I did see a couple TikToks of a Harvard graduate and a Princeton graduate not being able to find jobs either.
All the
and
time.
now it really doesn't matter. If they need to cut costs, you could have gone to the best school on the planet and had the best grades ever.
Nobody
You're
cares.
still probably going to get cut. Another comment here, recently got laid off a few weeks ago, went to an unemployment seminar in Georgia, and instead of expecting 5 to 6 other people, it was about 32. When the instructor asked if any of us were laid off, about 90% of us raised our hands.
Now, I don't mean to be mean if you get laid off. I'm not. Ask yourself if it happens to you. What was your mindset? Do they know the value you were bringing? Do you know what the value you were bringing? Do you know? Do they know? If you don't know, shame on you. You should know. If they don't know, you've got to communicate that better. You've got to communicate that better, right? So they get it. They get the value you're bringing.
You're screwed. And I know it sounds bad, but honestly, good luck if you're trying to find a job. When you're going on sites like Indeed and LinkedIn, they are terrible.
I got laid off in December and it's June now, so I'm obviously—
Hold on. Michael says, nobody cares about your degree unless you're a doctor or engineer or scientist. Not even that. Have you ever asked your doctor what school he went to? Nobody cares. Are you a good doctor or not? They don't care. People listen to doctors on YouTube. We don't know what they went to. People go to take nurse practitioners. They don't know. Not true. Engineer? No engineer. Unless you're an MIT guy, in which case, if you graduated, they may not like you because they expect you to get picked out of one of the incubators, right? You get picked out of an incubator, right? You went to MIT, networked, and they took you out. Scientists, they don't care. Unless you go to academia. Academia cares. Very clear. I always tell you that. There's what is exception when it comes to the school stuff. Academia. If you want to be a professor or you want to work as a scientist in a college, they care. But the average person, does anybody even know what schools have these scientists went to? Nobody knows. Did you do something? Elon Musk even said it. He says, I only had 2 types of people. The absolute tippity top from the highest schools, best grades, number 1. Number 2, people who've done something. And now the tippity top schools are going away. It's people who've done something. What have you achieved? What have you done? Here's a response. How am I going to get something done if I don't have a job? You better find the answer. Maybe you got to do something for free. Maybe you got to start your own business. Maybe you got to be an internship. Well, I don't want to work for nothing. Then don't work at all. I know that sucks. I don't mean to be cruel. I'm being forward. If you can't build a resume of accomplishments, you are going to suffer. I would rather you not. I haven't had a resume in years. I have a bio. A bio is just cool stuff I've done. And they pick me or they don't. Becky says, employers care about those degrees, though. Less and less, Becky. Less and less, unless they are big business, in which case they check boxes, or they're government. Otherwise, they don't care. Less and less. In fact, even the government, I think it was Pennsylvania and 3 or 4 other states last year, removed their college degree requirements to work for their state. You don't need it anymore. It's going away more and more and more.
They're not doing a good job at finding a new job. Genuinely, every time I apply for any job, it feels like I'm just buying a lottery ticket. Like, it feels more likely to win the lottery right now than to get a job. And I think that says a lot about the systems that we're using for job applications. I know there was a certain time where it would have been really helpful to use like LinkedIn or Indeed or these other websites, but they become so overrun with fake jobs, with fake applications.
Okay, I'm going to tell you about LinkedIn. All you need to have on LinkedIn is to exist. That's it. You don't have to use LinkedIn to get a job, not required. You need to simply have a LinkedIn profile. If you're looking for a job, you must have a LinkedIn profile. That's it. That's all that matters. You don't have to use it, whatever. Exist on LinkedIn, be able to be found on LinkedIn with a nice profile. That's it. Because when they're looking for social media, you want them to not only look at your Facebook page, you want them to be able to find a LinkedIn page. Now, if you want to do something like this, it's fine, but LinkedIn's not great. But you want to exist on LinkedIn. That's the most important thing of LinkedIn. Using it, not that important. Have a nice picture on it, all your good stuff. Exist on LinkedIn. That's all it's required. The rest, LinkedIn is, generally speaking, garbage. But exist on it because it is a piece of social media. It's almost like you have to be found. So yes.
with fake employers. It's just an absolute crap show there. And makes me not even want to apply anymore. Like, I genuinely feel like I'm wasting my time.
Which is why I tell you 1,000 times, mass applying breaks your soul.
Sitting on these websites and applying for things. A lot of you are going to say, oh, you have to know someone at a company, like reach out to them or just go in person.
It's true.
Oh, go to the actual website for the company and apply there. Trust me, I've literally done it all.
Networking. About 80%, and this has been true since the crash 2008. It's been true since then. About 80% of all jobs are gotten somehow through networking. 80%. Depending upon the time, it can go up and down, but it's around 80%. Yes.
At this point, I'm just at a loss. And I'm kind of like, do I even keep applying? Because
Michael says, if you don't have a degree for engineering, scientist, or doctor jobs, you can't even apply, is what I meant. Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. This is my whole point. Michael, you're right. This is my entire point when saying going to college. I'm not saying don't go to college. What I'm saying is don't go to college without a plan. If your plan is, I want to be a doctor, obviously go to college. You have a plan. You're going to take biology or whatever the thing is, however, I don't know, whatever it takes to be a doctor. Boom, boom, boom. Total makes sense. I'm with you, Michael. What I'm saying is you don't have to go to Ivy League school to become a doctor. You know what they call the doctor who graduated at the bottom of his class, PhD class, right? I mean, his MD class. You know what they call him? Doctor. That's what they call them. Doesn't matter. Top of the class, bottom of the class. You're a doctor now. All good. So all I'm saying is if you have a plan, you know you want to be an engineer. You're right. Go. Absolutely. Now, do you have to get top of your class? No. Do something while you're at MIT or wherever you are, even if you're in community college. Achieve something. Build something. People will hire you. But yes, you're right. Go to college for that. You want to be an engineer, scientist, lawyer? Absolutely. Go to college. 100%. But have a plan is what I'm saying. That's my issue. We're on the same page. I misunderstood you, Michael. I misunderstood you. You were on the same page.
I feel like I'm giving a little bit of my soul away every single time I apply and hear absolutely nothing back. Yes. We need new systems immediately.
I'm 100% certain that 80% of the jobs are fake postings
a lot
simply
of them are
to
fake.
Harvest our data. Then those companies would sell it off. I've been laid off for 5 months,
True.
but my spam calls have skyrocketed since applying. If LinkedIn was a serious ethical business, they would penalize companies that post over and over and
This
over
is my
again
point,
with the
Kintsugi.
same role and never hire anyone. There are just no consequences, so companies
Just
could
be
keep
on it.
doing it. You should not have to know someone at a company to get a job or even an interview.
Yes, but Connor, that's not how it works. You need to. You need to.
I know that should be the case, but that's really not the reality now. Networking
Correct.
and knowing somebody who's already working at a company
Everything.
is probably the best thing you could do, even
He is
over
correct.
having a degree at some
He is
prestigious university now.
Yes.
And adding on to the comment where she was applying for so many different jobs, not getting any interviews, I'm starting to see a lot of clips like this, which end up being an advertisement, but it's supposed to be relatable and help you in this job market. But honestly, I only think it's going to make everything worse.
My parents will never understand that this is the only way to get a job now. I've applied to like 200 jobs. And look, she's using this app where you literally just upload your...
Now there's apps to get your job. So now AI goes through the AI. Crazy.
Jobs.
I just got my first taste of AI potentially replacing me. I do marketing for this client and they asked me to research some AI marketing tools. And then I realized that the one I'm researching that they asked me to would probably replace me because I don't know how much it would be worth it for them to continue paying me if they use this service.
Now, this is an important piece. He said, I don't know if it will be worth it for them paying me. Why does that matter? It matters because he understands the entrepreneur value. He sees how much value he brings. He sees how much value AI brings. If the value is equal, why would I pay him more? That's not mean. That's how the world works. You now have to think in your mind, how can I bring more value than AI? That is not easy. But that is our future. That is our future. How do I bring more value than AI? I taught my daughter this already. My daughter was going to art school. And she's worried. She's like, Dad, I don't know if I can draw well, if I can draw as good as some other kids. Some of them are better artists. I said, none of it matters. She said, what? I said, no, that doesn't matter. She says, what? I said, this was years ago. I said, in a couple of years, AI will be doing all the artwork. It doesn't matter anymore. Artists are going to be a dime a dozen. Artists are already a dime a dozen. I don't mean to be cruel to you artists, but drawing is what I should be clear. Artists who can draw. Drawing is easy. Drawing is a dime a dozen. Drawing, anyone can draw well. It's fine. I said, knowing how to draw doesn't matter. Knowing what to draw matters. Learn what to draw, not how to draw. And she got a degree in sequential arts, which is basically storytelling. Not in art. Not in art. AI is already replacing art. You got to know what prompts to put in, what ideas you need. You just know what to draw, not how to draw. That isn't the issue. And you got to understand that. She now will use AI every day. My youngest one already uses AI to write every day. Now, her school says don't do that. Her school's stupid. I tell her to ignore her school. It's stupid. Use AI every day. And she does, and she should. I don't care what her stupid school thinks. They're backward and useless anyway. I don't care. I don't care if they hear me. If you're one of my daughter's teachers and you're telling her not to use AI, you're a terrible person or you're an idiot, one or the other. I don't care. It's true. Use AI every day. It's how it works. So that's a critical piece to understand. How do you make more? How do you bring more value than AI? And almost always it's you knowing how to use AI. Almost always. Liberty check though, tangible goods and services. Yes, there are two things that are never going to go away. Two things, never. One, your point, tangible goods. Yes, AI is not going to be able to do all that yet. Maybe one day, but not now. That's correct. A second thing, a personal experience. Now, people will often want less personal experience so they spend more time online, but we will always pay for a personal experience, right? We will always pay to go to a concert. We will always pay to go to a play. We will always pay to go to a thing, right? To go see people. We will always pay for that. Always. We've been paying for plays since what? Ancient times, right? Since ancient times, we've been planning to go to plays. And we still do it. Broadway still makes money, right? Now, don't get me wrong. You can watch it on whatever, YouTube or LinkedIn, whatever you can, but people do want that. They absolutely do want that. They want a personal touch for different reasons. So, yeah, absolutely. And for the tangible goods and services, you'll be able to use AI to make those faster, better, whatever, deliver, market, whatever, but people still need it. Like AI can't give you a haircut yet. I mean, maybe one day, not yet. And most people don't want to do it yet. I mean, maybe one day. We'll figure it out. So, yes. All righty. Andrew says, got to get on that AI grind. Yes. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I use AI every day, and so should you. Kentucky says, she should. When I discovered AI for writing, it changed everything. My mind was blown. No more writer's block. Yes. Yes. And Kentucky, that's the point. You have to know what to write. That's the most important piece. That's
so
the
I'm
issue.
Basically the architect of my own demise. I'm actually doing research to find the AI to replace me, which is really weird.
It's like interviewing your replacement. I do marketing right now, and we're teaching AI how to do our jobs with our internal research. It's learning from our mouse clicks. I am toast. Tons and tons of jobs like this come with me.
Now, this is the problem with so many people. If you're thinking, oh my God, AI is terrible, let's ban it, you're fooling yourself, we're not banning it. If you say, oh my God, I'm going to replace, I got to find another job someplace doing the same thing, you're fooling yourself, it's not going to happen. You should be thinking, excuse me, oh my God, how do I take advantage of this? And that's not easy. And that's not easy, but that's the answer.
To get laid off from my 4+ year corporate tech job because AI took it. Not only.
Now, here's the thing, is what she said. This is a victim mentality. And I get it. You're upset. It's not helpful. Come with me to get laid off from my 4+ year corporate, like I deserve something. And I know you feel it. If you work long, you feel like you deserve something. Remember, the company is not your friend. It doesn't care. It doesn't care. It doesn't care. And because AI took it. No, because AI provides the same value as you for less. AI didn't take it. AI provides the same value as you for less. That's terrible. I get it. But you now have to figure out, how do I provide more value than AI? Then you keep your job. If this is me, if I'm this person and I've taken my job, what I'm going to say is, Here's how I can use the AI to give you even more. That's what I'm doing. If I got 4 people in my tech job, I'm going to tell my boss, here's how I can use the AI people to make it better. You get rid of the other 3 guys, keep me. That may sound crappy. That's what I'm doing.
Not only is it taking jobs right now, there's interviews saying that a good amount of entry-level jobs will be completely taken over by AI in a few years, which then also adds into the fact that almost every other job needs 10 years plus of experience. But how are you going to get your foot in the door ever if all the beginner jobs are being done by AI? So we're going to...
Because you're going to learn on YouTube and figure out how to do it all on YouTube. Yes.
Switch over to some of the things that I would avoid and hopefully keep your job. Because again, we are seeing a ton of people recording themselves getting laid off.
Yes.
I just got this random meeting invite from work and HR is on it and something tells me I'm about to get fired. So I'm going to record this because
Yeah. So she is now unhireable. She is now unhireable. She is now unhireable now. What person, what idiot would hire this woman who's like, I'm a record? You're a walking lawsuit. I'm never hiring you. And she's like, I'm going to get clicks. Well, you better become a TikToker because you're not getting hired again.
I have no idea what's going on.
Within like a case like this, I feel like it is hard because I wish I was given the chance to show how dedicated I am to this position because
you were hired. I don't mean to be mean. This is my exact point I was bringing up. You got fired. I wish I had a chance. You did. How long have you been working at the company? You did not communicate well the value that you brought. She goes, I'm dedicated. No one gives a shit. I know I'm sounding cruel sometimes, guys, but I'm trying to get you guys to figure this out. No one gives a shit if you're dedicated. She did not show the value she brought to that company, and that's why she's gone. I'm not being mean. I'm telling you what they're thinking. That's how it works.
So you've definitely seen this before. The biggest account that got the most amount of views is this woman, Brittany. She uploaded the video twice, but in total, it got 4 million views. And it was the same thing. She was getting fired on a Zoom call with the same BS paragraph of, oh, we'll help you through these trying times. We have restructuring in the company, blah, blah, blah.
They say that because they don't want to get sued.
And I'm definitely not trying to defend any of these companies, but if you ever saw the fallout from this woman because of these videos, there were a lot of posts online of her having breakdowns because of the upload. No company would want to hire her. It took months and months.
No company would hire her. Yes. Why would you? This idea of empathy is important. Understanding a company is sociopathic. It's not evil. It doesn't care. If you are a walking lawsuit, it's not going to hire you. And I've heard people say this, but Larry, I need a job. They don't care. Accept that. A company cares about one thing. What value will you bring to them? Can you communicate that well? If you can get hired. That's it in the long run. Can you communicate that you're still bringing value? You will stay with your job. If you cannot communicate that well, either you're not bringing much value or you're messing up on your communication. One of the two things are true. That's
so
how it
many
works.
Applications and interviews, but they just saw her as a liability because if anything happens in the future, all of this will be put on the internet. So the last video she put up 8 months later, I'm employed, so happy and grateful. That was November 18th of 2024, and she has not posted
Thank
since.
you. She
I'm
learned.
pretty sure it's because she doesn't want to have any drama online, just work whatever job that she has with no issues. And I feel like a lot of people are putting themselves in similar situations, doing the same thing, recording themselves, getting laid off, getting a ton of views, and then making it.
There we go. So I know I went long on that one. I forgot about that piece I'm going to bring up to you also, show you that. Look, this is a tough time. It absolutely is a tough time, guys. I know it is. It's a challenging time. But you have to understand, companies care about value and value only. That's what they care about. You have to be able to show that you provide value to your company and then communicate it well. If you don't, they will let you go. Unless you happen to be lucky and you work for a smaller company that's much more of a local company that actually cares about you. That can be true. If the owners know you, if they're part of a community, they can care. They do care. That's why I like small companies. But when it's a bigger company, when they're a corporation, you don't matter to them, good or bad. Please don't take it personally. It's not personal. They don't know you. You're a number. It's not. It feels personal because it's happening to you. I get it. It feels personal. It's not. They don't care. You're a number. They're not thinking about you afterwards. You're forgotten. Next. That's how it is. I know it feels bad. You should feel the same way about your company. Your company is not your friend unless you own the company. If you own the company, it's your friend. Otherwise, it's not. You should accept that as true. If you do that more, you have a better chance of having success. Remember, networking is everything. Building value is everything. Building a resume of successes and accomplishments is everything. Your experience, your dedication, nobody cares. They've all got it. Who cares? What have you done? What value do you bring? Can you communicate it well? That's how you'll survive. An entrepreneurial mindset is the future. If you don't have that mindset, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, the entrepreneurial mindset is going to get you going. Guys, thank you so much for today. I really do appreciate all the time that you guys gave me. Remember to click that like button. It is important. Remember, panel show is next Friday, July 11th at 8 p.m. That is important. So if you want to go be on that, the people, I think I already picked the 3. Please respond if I went out to you. Please do so. It'll be important. Remember, my radio show is now moved to Monday. Don't forget that also. And remember also, the algorithm loves if after the show is over, when it's over, if you put a comment afterwards. I'm going to ask the comment, have you been laid off? How about that? Or are you afraid of being laid off? Either one. Have you been laid off or are you afraid of being laid off? Either one of those. Yes. Remember, if this is not live, you're going to see 2 videos pop up right up here. And when they pop up, if you would take a couple seconds to watch one of them, maybe 8 minutes or so, would be great. The algo loves that too. I will see you all very soon.